Hey there, welcome to the Wednesday live stream. Jay, wake up. Jay,
Steve,
what's happening, man?
Steve, I took Tylenol.
Your autism
I
is
think I
kicking in?
have autism now, and I feel pregnant. And Trump told me not to take it if I'm pregnant.
That's all right. We'll get you your Medbed card, and you'll be all fixed up
yeah,
in no time.
Yeah, I mean, is this Medbed thing for real? Could that make it so I don't need to take Tylenol?
Mm-hmm.
Jay, it's like, you ever see the movie Elysium?
Yeah, I freaking remember that.
Yeah.
That was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And we have them now. We have these Medbeds. Trump said that everyone's going to have one.
Mm-hmm.
And this
Well,
will cure every disease, every ailment.
Repeated a fake AI video of him saying that we're all going to get these Medbeds. So what does that mean?
Means he, I don't know, is full of shit. I mean, could you comprehend that?
I'm still
TikTok
disoriented. I need Ian to tell me what day it is.
Oh, yes. Hello, everybody. It is it this music? Yes. It is Wednesday, October 1st, the year of my birth, the month of my birth.
The year of your Lord.
The year of my Lord. It's my birthday month. Today we're going to talk illusions, Medbed. Yeah, that's a fun thing that was happening. Creatures of habit and maybe some TikToks. Okay, that's what we do. So it is Wednesday. You know what time it is.
It is October 1st, so it's not only Ian's birth month, but it's my daughter Autumn's actual birthday, so happy birthday,
today.
Autumn.
Hooray.
And today's my anniversary.
And it's Jay's anniversary, because Jay and his wife decided to get married on my daughter's birthday.
So if it's your daughter's birthday, like nothing else can happen in life on that day?
That's a bit of a straw man, but sure.
Well, that's what you're saying.
I didn't say that. I just said you decided to get married on my daughter's birthday.
But there was a subtext there, and everybody picked up on it, particularly Christian Hubicki,
daughter's
who's listening to you, Steve.
Mr. Christian.
Doesn't want to put up with your BS.
Oh, Mr. Christian. Oh, wait, Sister Christian.
Sister Christian.
close
Yeah,
enough.
that's a good song, man.
Uh-huh. All right, sorry, TikTok, the camera died for a second. Hold on, we're back.
He's working on it.
There we go. All
Thank you, everybody.
All right,
Thanks
so
for
sorry,
that.
so sorry.
So you might be asking, like, where's Bob?
You might be asking yourself.
What happened to Bob?
Hey.
Bob is
How did we get
literally putting Halloween over the SGU right now. That's it. I tell you
one
the
of
truth.
Calling him out.
He has other responsibilities. He does.
Most
but,
are Halloween related.
But his time, let's put it this way, his time is way more constrained in October than at other times of the year.
If I did it, you'd be rip-roaring pissed.
Well, you don't even like Halloween.
So there's a double standard here.
No.
Yeah.
All right. So what are we talking about? What's the illusion thing? Should we go right to the med?
What
All right,
is
let's
the
do some
illusion?
fun stuff because I know the med beds is like painful, but let's just do some fun little things. Let me
But
make sure
the
this
whole
is grabbing.
medbed thing goes deeper than you might imagine.
Yeah,
I
we
know
have to
it
talk
does
about
go
it. We
crazy.
have to
We're
get
gonna
into
have
it.
to talk about it.
What are we
talking
looking at
about
here?
it. All
What's
right,
happening?
So what's happening? Let me restart this. So this is an illusion. No matter when you pause the video, the turtle will vanish suddenly. When do you think it'll pause?
Of course it does.
Pause.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can only see it
pause.
in motion.
Yeah, you only see the difference. I mean, you can maybe I'm kind of tricking myself into thinking I can see a line
You're
there.
not seeing anything.
I don't know. Yeah, it's like
I mean, maybe a tiny little, only because you know it's there originally.
that's probably true.
Now,
Yeah.
to me, this is a low-level illusion, and I'll explain it to you. Ian.
Oh, okay, fine. Hate me then.
Because I think for most people, it's really obvious why you can't see it anymore.
Yeah, because it's a random pattern.
Yeah, so basically, like when you move it, you're seeing the edges as it
You're seeing-
intersects
yeah.
with other things.
It's one random pattern superimposed over another random pattern, and you could see the movement.
Mm-hmm.
But when they're still, it's just a random pattern.
Yeah.
And the weird thing is, I don't even see a turtle. I just see a blob.
Yeah, I don't know why I called it turtle. It is kind of like the those magic eyes, you know what I mean? A little
Yeah.
bit where
Is that?
it's not really, but like it's popped out, like kind of
Looks
like a
to me
magic
like a
eye.
bear rug.
It definitely looks like it's on a higher
what
layer
you're
than the
saying.
background.
Oh yeah,
That
well when it's moving. it
We should
certainly
make this,
does
but
that.
it should be Steve's head.
Okay, we could do that. Just like 1,000 Steve heads. Yeah, we could do that. So there's that little fun.
Hey
something
man,
other.
it's all
right,
good.
I found another use for AI music,
Oh,
Mhm.
which
thank
is painful. There are some AI musics on YouTube that I will not admit that they're AI because it's too good. But let's listen to this one. This one is also location specific. So this is the Hartford song.
All right.
And
Hartford,
specific-
Connecticut?
Hartford, Connecticut. Let's see what it says.
First time in Hartford CT, where sports cars drive on pothole streets. Purple shirt dudes yelling at women and rampant late stage. Capitalism, West Indian parade in full gear. It's bro's favorite day of the year. By a jet ski party with sailors. They got Bob Marley and Wailers. Yeah, it's Hartford CT, home of wealth disparity.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, you know.
so the AI came up with those lyrics?
I mean, I think probably
What was the
somebody
prompt?
fed
Was
it.
that's-
yeah,
was
the
that
prompt.
just?
It's not bad. It's not bad. I mean, the
not the
rhyming
worst thing.
is way better than I thought it would be if it's AI created.
Yeah, I think it is. At least that's what the person is indicating. It certainly sounds AI.
I'm
Yeah,
trying to
right,
remember
to
if I ever actually
have been to Hartford.
visited Hartford. I've driven through it
Oh, yeah.
hundreds of
I've
times.
been there many
I've been there a
times.
couple times. It's like New Haven, but worse.
Yeah, well, it's like, yeah, it's just all the city part of New Haven, none of the culture.
Yeah, none of the.
Yeah, it's-
no,
I mean,
there's
it's
no
a-
pizza place up there, so why?
It's
do
a
you bother
good place
going?
to go
There
if you want to
probably is.
get.
I mean, I've been to
randomly
West
shot.
Hartford. I've been around Hartford. I'm not trying to
Yeah.
think if I've been in
Well, that's where the
Hartford.
airport
If
is.
I
West
were, no, so the airport's in Springfield.
Oh, was it in Springfield?
Yeah, it's not in Hartford.
It's not actually in Hartford.
BDL, Bradley International Airport, which is Hartford/Springfield, is actually in. It's not in Hartford proper. You go minutes.
You go past.
Whoa,
it.
Yeah.
Sure.
way
Whoa,
past.
minutes. Yeah. Anyway, that was. I don't
Anywho.
know. It's AI
Well, there's more to say
music
about
annoys
this.
me. Go ahead. What do you think
Yeah.
of
You know, because it's an interesting topic, right? We have
AI music?
these AI song creation sites like
Mm.
Suno, who are getting better. You know, every time I go visit Suno just to see what it can do, because I'm curious, you know, because they're dropping updates. It's getting better.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I used it a few years ago, there was lots of problems. You know, it basically like it couldn't give you the stems. As the song went on, most of the things that I made, like there was clarity issues with the vocals. They would degrade over time, which I thought was strange. There wasn't that many options to pick from as far as like selecting how you wanted to behave and all that stuff. And now I made something recently, and I was like, yeah,
It's good.
we passed a threshold, I think, where it's getting to the point where I could totally see musicians doing the whole. Let me just see if blah, blah. Next thing you know, they're using it to come up with most of what they're doing.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I probably have been to the Hartford Civic Center
That's true.
a couple
course
of
you have.
times. Yeah.
And
All
I
right.
don't like it.
Let
I
me
don't like
play
it.
you a song.
Yeah.
I found it. My friend Jason and I were talking back and forth about Jason obviously, but it's very annoying. I don't think we'll get claims, but we'll see. It's AI. How can you claim it?
Go ahead.
But let's see if we can play it a little bit.
Fake music.
Yeah. So it's Don't You Forget About Me, but a funk soul 60s version of it, whatever. And I'm like, I don't want to believe it's just like a one prompt. Like it's too
On the
clean,
nose, man.
on the nose.
It's really good.
It's very good.
It's like very tight, which is why,
Other lyrics?
yeah, it comes in.
Let me
It
hear
is
it.
a long intro. Here we go.
Won't you come see about me? I'll be alone, dancing, you know it, baby. Tell me.
Like it does so much like breathy articulation.
Oh,
if
God.
it's like, it's crazy. If this is
I
AI.
hate what I'm about to say.
It's good.
I
like
love
it.
everything about it.
I know. This okay. So let me pause it because we're probably
Shit,
getting-
that is good.
It's very annoying how good it is. But the thing is that I'm thinking is this real musicians saying it's AI so that they get into the algorithm because people are like, wow, this is so crazy.
You
I
want to
mean,
believe that.
I want to
Ian.
believe that desperately. The other thing is it like saying one prompt like don't you forget about me but soul? I don't think that's what they're doing. I would imagine they're like feeding MIDI, like either like a transcription or like, they orchestrated it some way, feeding it and saying like make this a 70s bass.
Yeah.
Because the hits are so on point. It's crazy. Like it's tight. It's
But was
not-
it funky enough for you?
I don't know. It's like
I mean,
it's tight. Maybe it's not real.
You
Yeah.
can't, when in
This is
my
just-
head, comparing it to, my massive catalog of funk music, which I adore in my head, like,
Yeah.
it has really good elements. I could tell you right out of the gate, like, what I'd want it to do to make it better for
Yeah.
me personally. But the bottom line is, if this is AI, let's just, there's no reason to talk about it if it's not AI. It's cool music either way. But if it's AI and it came up with all the music, even if it didn't, like, make the decision to use the backbone of Don't You Forget About Me,
Yeah.
that-
That we need George.
that
George,
was
get on the stream if you're
freaking
listening.
awesome. I can call him. I'm going to call him.
Let me skip around because this is not the only song. There are tons of it.
All right, well, let's
and
hear
they
it.
are so. Let me see if I can find more.
I mean, I enjoy listening to it.
I mean, the chorus, the choir singing, And there's a guitar solo in it too, which is crazy. Let me get the guitar solo. No,
Don't you forget about me.
I don't know. This channel has like a ton of them. There's a ton of channels out there that are doing this, like AC/DC, but
Yeah.
a Back in Black soul version, like Killing in the Name of. They're all like pretty tight.
But
Like
they're all
wonderful.
AI?
That's what it says. It says, fake music.
Oh, but it's a ton of stuff. That means it's probably AI rather than a group producing it, right?
I mean, well, it depends. I mean, they could have had, preloaded it and then just like, let's see how many videos they have actually. Does it say how many videos? Like some of these, they are pumping them out twice a day. Twice a day is pretty fast.
That's pretty fast if it's not AI. That's my
yeah,
point.
I mean, you could record a lot, but it's like, I don't know.
It's if what this is basically what we're saying here is it's likely that if this isn't it, that it's going to get there. It's going to be like.
But also, they
That's
probably
true,
could be
too.
people that used AI, but are musicians, and
Right.
it's not just somebody just.
Yes.
As Ian says, just with a simple.
That's
prompt.
wishful thinking.
AI
Like,
augmentation
we could-
or
we
something.
But that was
could-
just fine. I love it when artists use new tools to create art, and that's fine.
Sure, but that's not what's happening.
We don't know entirely. We don't know the whole system, and I don't know what.
So that information is not online. Like we can't.
We probably could find it. I haven't actually gone into it. It's like I don't know what tool they're quote unquote using. Obviously, the visuals are AI, but that doesn't mean much. Like they could be using some real new tool or something like that. I don't know. We could try to do a deep dive and see if there is something that we could. I mean, like if it's this good, we could put your voice singing any of these songs.
Well, let me see if George isn't responding immediately. But
can we do an experiment right now and go to the app and come up with a song and say do a cover of this song in as funky as
well?
It
depends on which. I don't know which app they're using. I assume like you mean Suno or whatever.
Is there another one?
I mean, there's like a ton. I think at this point.
What's the best one?
There's a lot.
I have no idea. I try to avoid
What's
it.
the one we have an account for?
I think Suno.
I think I have a Suno account.
Hold on, let me sign in and not show our phone number. You have a Suno account?
Yeah, let me check.
Well, you want to do that while I talk about the med beds?
Yeah, let's do that. All right, well, we'll jump to the med beds. We'll come back to this AI. We might do a deeper dive on this with George and see if like, one, what he thinks, but also just how realistic it is. All right, let's get to the med bed thing. You guys might have seen the med bed claim or a video that somebody in a high position of power posted. So let me just play a little bit of this. He's since deleted this. Kind of blew up in our Discord as well. Everybody was like, this is not real. This can't be real. Yeah. There we go.
Breaking now. President Donald J. Trump has announced a historic new healthcare system. The launch of America's first medbed hospitals and a national medbed card for every citizen.
Every American will soon receive their own medbed card. With it, you'll have guaranteed access to our new hospitals led by the top doctors in the nation, equipped with the most advanced technology in the world. These facilities are safe, modern, and designed to restore every citizen to full health and strength. This is the beginning of a new era in American healthcare.
In this first phase, only a limited number of medbed cards will be released. Registration details will be announced very soon. Breaking now. President Donald J. Trump has
first
announced...
of all, Trump does not speak that lucidly.
That's what I was going to say, too.
Not a good
problem. Number one, he was coherent throughout.
And it didn't sound much like him as far as.
Yes, it wasn't very good AI. And there's always, the matching the lip movement, the mouth movement to the words is right in the uncanny valley right now. Who knows where we'll be in 2 years or 3 years or 5 years? But that's hard. Our brains are so hardwired for the way mouths move. That is always the problem, right? You're just so sensitive to things that are just subtly wrong about it. So that's going to be a really tough nut to crack. But in any case, so that's clearly AI. Mm-hmm. Now, Trump retweeted that or whatever. Truth Socialed it, right? And you might ask, why would he do that? Which is always a hard question to ask. Do you really want to go down that rabbit hole of asking why Trump does anything?
Yeah.
But
we know why.
I have a theory.
Thank you, Lori.
It requires some background knowledge.
Oh.
The whole medbed thing, is a QAnon conspiracy theory. Mm-hmm. Right? Were you guys aware of that?
Well, tell us all about that.
So, I mean, again, untangling exactly how this emerged from the QAnon conspiracy fever swamps would take a lot of work. But the short story is that part of the QAnon conspiracy theory is that JFK, President JFK is still around, right, of course, and is like in good health and working behind the scenes with Trump to whatever reveal the Democrat pedophilia ring, whatever the other crap they think. So that's kind of hard to sustain, though, that this notion that JFK is still around, 60 years after he was killed. And so that's where the medbeds come in, or at least that's where those streams cross. It's like, well, you have the medbed technology. That's how JFK is staying young and healthy.
Okay.
And so what are the quote-unquote medbeds? They are, the Elysium reference is like an extreme version. But it's a slightly more moderate version. It's like, it looks like the Elysium kind of tube you get into. That's where the idea came from. And it uses life force energy, whatever crap, to regenerate tissue, make you more healthy, and whatever. It's good for what ails you. Now, why would Trump retweet that? Again, one possibility is that he thought he could get away with throwing some red meat to his QAnon base without, as a dog whistle, right? Like they would know what that is because that's part of their hardcore conspiracy.
Yep.
But most people would not know what it is. It's just like, oh, look at this silly AI thing.
Yeah.
And then he probably took it down because the jig was up, right? Because it was pretty much out there what was going on.
I mean, do you think that he actually posted it, or
well, it's very possible that a staffer did,
right, who is like QAnon, crazy,
or like just for those reasons thought, oh,
Right.
we got to keep the base happy,
Right,
without
right.
scaring the normals, right? I mean, and they thought that they were threading that needle, and they weren't. I don't think though. I mean, it could be far simpler that Trump is like, oh, here's something positive about me that's not real. Who cares? Post it.
Yeah.
And it's all about the narrative and the image, not reality. This government is not connected to reality. Reality has nothing to do with anything that Trump says or does. It's just all about the narrative and the illusion and the image and just trashing his enemies, and he's the greatest thing in every way possible, all the time, always. So it could be that simple. But I do think at some level, somewhere, whoever did it was aware, oh, this is, the core conspiracy theorist supporters of Trump will know what this means. And yes, I'm just speculating. But it is a QAnon theory. That's not speculation. That's established. Trump posted it, or his staffer posted it. That's established. It's fake. That's established. Now we're speculating as to actually what the thinking was, because a lot of the questions that are coming up are, why would he do that? Why would Trump post a fake video about himself? He obviously knows it's fake. What does he think he's getting out of it? So this is what I think he's getting out of it, or his staffer thought he was getting out of it. Whatever. It doesn't really matter. It's still a complete fake based upon a ridiculous conspiracy theory, right?
Yeah.
And there's another angle to this, because there's a cottage industry of snake oil salesmen selling med beds, and which of course don't exist. So how do you sell something which doesn't exist? Because whatever, they're trying to ride the coattails of this, especially since it's a higher profile, since Trump tweeted that video, spread that video around. So the couple of companies that I read about, in doing background research for this, one is in Switzerland, and they call their product a Medbed, but you don't actually get anything physical. They just beam quantum energy to your bed.
Yeah.
And that beam of it's quantum life energy. It increases your life energy and is good for what ails you. But then when pushed,
Yeah.
you know what they say? Well, Medbed stands for meditation bed. It's just meditation. There's another company that actually sells you, again, it's not a whole bed. It's these little metal canisters that you put under your mattress. And that gives you the fake life energy bullshit.
Oh, right. So the chi power is strong in these. All right. So bottom line
and these cost
is
thousands of dollars.
Yeah, the bottom line
you could drop
is
$20,000 on this bullshit.
So people are making money scamming other people off
Yeah.
of something that's in, not necessarily the news as much, but in the wacko zeitgeist.
Yes.
Which, no shock here. Trump somehow attaches himself to it. No shock here.
Maybe because that there's a QAnon angle.
Yeah, I don't doubt it, but we don't know.
What's interesting too is when you look up QAnon, I try to keep tabs on them just because they're an extreme example of conspiracy thinking, and it's just interesting to as a case study, as a ecological sort of real world case study, how gullible can people get? And apparently there's no limit. And so scammers have figured this out. I think scammers know that QAnon believers are the most gullible people on the planet, and they are selling them every kind of scam and snake oil imaginable. And they're buying it because whatever reason, in terms of their predisposition, their life history, their philosophy, their politics, whatever, believing in QAnon makes you incredibly gullible. There's a positive correlation there. Again, it's hard to completely disentangle.
You say it makes you gullible?
No, I'm just saying
you have to be gullible.
It's
to do
both
it.
of those things, I think. It's a sort of a self-reinforcing, and it's hard to tease apart the cause and effect, but there's a massive correlation between profound, mind-numbing gullibility and belief in QAnon. Same thing with flat earthers, and I think there's a lot of overlap there as well. Either of these things, it's a bottomless pit of gullibility. And of course, that's where the scammers are going to go. Why not? Why wouldn't they? Because that's a ripe environment.
Yeah. So not that I need to state this, but the president of the United States is like associated with one of the dumbest
Yes.
and arguably a somewhat dangerous conspiracy theory group.
Totally. He's also a dumb conspiracy theorist himself.
Yeah.
He believes many dumb conspiracy theories. That which was the case that Harris should have made during the campaign that I don't think she really pressed. Like when during the debate when he's like, they're eating the dogs, that line, she didn't really have any response to that. I think she was trying not to let him sort of guide the conversation. But I don't know. I think that was a missed opportunity. It's like somebody that gullible should not be the president of the United States. Mm-hmm. He's believing stuff that is in, again, the fever swamps of the worst places on the internet. This is not where the president should be getting his information,
Right.
And now he's sending troops into Portland based upon conspiracy theories and stuff he hears on the internet. Not like he has access to the U.S. government and to all the intelligence agencies. And he's like, this is what I see on the internet. So that's a manifestation of his MO, his gullibility towards any conspiracy that is appealing to his ego.
And the people seem to love him. I've been reading a lot about how his popularity has taken a sharp decline. Like the polling is looking really bad for him and his administration. But that information...
Not as low as it should be.
Yeah, of course.
But
it doesn't penetrate.
My faith in humanity would be restored if he gets below like 20% or so. But
I don't know where he is.
It's in the 40s.
It's in the 40s. Well, that's not good enough.
It's below 50, but come on. Seriously?
So as we sit here discussing all this, Steve, I'm writing music.
Yeah. That was the idea.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
Anything good?
Okay, good.
It's still processing.
Are you on Suno? Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to. Apparently, I don't. Apparently, I don't have access to the version 5
And
model.
memes have ruined that word among many others.
Yeah, but it will. It's gonna write part of the song in version 5, and we'll just see.
Okay.
You have a paid account.
Let's see here. Well, it came out right. Here's a couple of.
Suno is now called Murica. Is that what it is?
What's it called?
Here is
Eureka?
there's two
Like
of them
Eureka
from
with
version
an M?
3.5, and then
No,
we
I
can
didn't-
compare that to version 5. Ready?
I have a picture pinned to my wall, an image of you and of me, and we're laughing and loving it all. But look at our life now, all tattered and torn. We fuss and we fight and delight, and with tears as we cry until dawn. Oh, oh, oh. Hold me now, oh, on my heart.
All right, so that's "Hold Me Now" by the Thompson Twins. Now here's version 2. Again, version.
So that was not AI.
That's AI.
That was AI.
Yeah, here's another one. Same version of Suno 3.5. Ready?
I have a picture pinned to the wall, an image of you and of me, and we're laughing and loving it all. But look at our life now, tattered and torn. We fuss and we fight and delight, and with tears as we cry until dawn.
All right, so nowhere near as good as the one that we saw.
Yeah. Neither of them are good. The first one was obviously AI in that
sounded
soulless
AI.
kind of okay, it's just
Right, here's-
technically fine, but there's nothing there. The second one was better, but not at the level of what we were hearing
All right,
before.
here's the version 5 one. Ready? I like it better already.
Because it's got the bass line.
picture into my wall.
Yeah.
Image of you and me, and we're laughing and loving it all.
Oh shit!
It's better. It's a lot better.
Look at our life now,
That's very AI sounding right there, but
all tattered and torn.
But that's a lot better.
it's a lot better.
That's a lot better.
Fuss and we fight and delighting with tears as we cry until dawn.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
I don't want to say it sounds like Anderson .Paak, but it kind of does.
That-
It's like fucking
You
hell.
could see the difference
We're
between 1,
screwed.
2, and 3.
Of course.
Clearly. And that third
That
one
was really good.
was kind of on the level of what we were hearing.
Yeah.
Right?
You know, isn't it crazy? Like, I don't know about everybody. Like, you know,
It's no Daft Punk.
Ian,
you're right.
Steve, and I have all been in bands, and we at one point in time, like, you know, we immersed ourselves in music. Ian and I, Steve's a drummer. Ian and I are both bass players. You know, after like spending my whole life listening to music, like I have like a very powerful gestalt feeling, right? Like I instantly make judgments and everything,
Yeah.
and then you get to a tipping point where you can start to feel the pleasingness of music if it's good enough.
Yeah.
For you, I
You
know,
know
it's
it
all
right
subjective.
away.
But
For me, it's all about the percussion because I'm a drummer. Like
yeah,
either
of
like
course.
the song, either it moves, it funks, you know what I mean, or
yeah,
or
it
it
funks.
doesn't.
So
You know what I mean? Like
It
it
funks.
grooves. There's a
Yeah.
groove there that you immediately feel.
Yeah.
Or you don't immediately feel. Like the first two, I didn't feel anything. That third one, I definitely felt something.
yeah, the first two for me, you know, I was having to think deeply about what parts I liked and all that, but the aggregate wasn't very good.
Yeah.
It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't very
Again,
good.
it was technically fine,
Technically, right.
but musically soulless.
This one, you
That's
know,
much- yeah.
I'm shocked at how good it is, and I'm scared.
And that's
I really
as bad
am.
as it'll be.
It's
You
crazy
know, it's getting
because
better and better. It's just so
you know
annoying.
they've made massive progress. And again, you could download this. Like if you had an account and your paid account, you can download the stems, all the separate tracks. You could remix it yourself if you want to. So if you want more bass, you could do it. You could probably tell the app too, just raise the bass, do this, do that, give it some direction. But the bottom line is, that was good, and I'm sure a lot of bands are doing exactly what I said. That they're just being like, hey, let's just all spend a few hours coming up with as many songs as we can, and we'll pick the top 5 and we'll do something with them.
This
you know?
one was funny. Do you not have to be careful when playing music, such as keeping it in short with fair use situation? I don't think that applies when it comes to AI that we just made. It's like, who's going to claim that? I don't think, there's any claimant on stuff
Yeah, I think
we
it-
just made.
Yeah.
We'll find out though, because this is going on
Yeah.
YouTube.
I
and
mean,
we'll
the other
see.
one, the when we played the first one, yeah, sure.
it's-
Technically, you can't play it at all.
But I thought you don't own the what gets spit out by AI.
I thought it was the other way around.
No, you
Definitely on
think you-
Midjourney. Like when I'm using Midjourney, it's like you cannot commercialize this. Like you cannot use
Right.
this for commercial.
if you
uses.
pay Suno like
But Suno, I think
a
it's
certain
different.
amount, you have full rights.
you get rights to the music you generate with their app.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, there's
think so.
another version 5. Want to hear it?
Oh yeah.
It's just a preview, but
Oh,
here's the
Lord.
second version 5 of that song.
I will say the sounds of the guitar are kind of cliche.
I have a picture
but- okay.
It's not as good as the other one.
Yeah,
into my
but better than the first two. Though.
Yeah.
You know, the things that I
don't
pick
know.
up when I hear like this more advanced AI music is, like, for example, when you're playing a guitar and you're picking out notes like they were doing in that second one, right? Like there are things that you do with your palm to muffle the note and to accentuate it, to have it have like a staccato, boom, like sound to it, and you could hear the texture, the post note texture, right?
Yeah.
Ian, you heard that? You could hear that texture. That has it.
Yeah.
It has that.
Well,
And
it's like
that's
the
not-
difference between a drum machine and a drummer, right?
Yeah.
Drum machines are perfect and consistent, and that's why they sound mechanical. And a drummer is a little bit not perfect in a way that feels, again, the rhythm and the vibe, and there's emphasis, and you know what I mean. It's just
If done well, that's what groove is.
that's what groove is,
Yeah.
right? It's like, I remember I saw a show with a guy who's playing the fiddle. It was a violin, but he was playing, like jazz and other stuff. And he showed us. He was giving us a very interesting demonstration. Like, here's the song, and he played the song just perfectly, straight. And then he said, and now here are the kind of things that you do to embellish the song. And then he played the same notes in the same sequence, in the same rhythm, but he was adding little emphasis and, the nuances.
Yeah, it was
and it's a completely different experience.
Yep.
A completely different experience. So AI started with the mechanical drum, technically accurate, but there's no life to it. And now it's learning how to add that.
Yeah.
That life, that
I mean, really, it's mathematical.
yeah,
You can chart it out, and if you look at when if you quantify like a jazz players playing music together,
yeah,
you could see that they're coming in early, they're coming in late, it's all quantifiable, right? And they can do it. They just match it. That's why, you can. It's the toupee fallacy too, Steve, because there's drum machines out there that do all that.
yeah. But the thing is, when you don't know it's a drum machine, you don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't know that you don't know. But that's all recent. And that's all recent though. Like 20
Yeah.
years ago, they didn't exist. You could always tell it was a drum machine.
So let me ask you guys, and just do yes or no, right? So in regards to Suno and music apps like this, we're just talking about music, okay? What do you think in general of this? Is it a net good or a net bad? And Steve, Ian, and I will tell you what we think after we get...
Yes or no?
Yeah. So basically good, just say good or bad. And we're waiting because there's a delay.
Delay. Bee boo doo. Let me play some hold music.
The fact that you could just do that so
Is
fast.
that AI hold music?
No, I don't think so.
All right, so we got one good.
It probably is. We got one good. TikTok is faster than YouTube for whatever reason.
Everybody just doesn't want to respond.
They don't want to
to it.
admit that it's good. Bad. Oh,
Bad.
good. Bad.
There's
good.
a delay in the matrix. That's
Bad.
what's happening.
Good. Bass. Bass.
I agree, Bass.
Bass.
Bad,
More
good.
Bad. Mostly bad. Some
some
good. Neither I'm indifferent. Oh, you would be amiable. Uh-huh.
I personally think it's both.
A lot of bads. I'm undecided. Yeah, it's unfortunately kind of both.
It's both.
6 of one,
Well,
half a dozen of the other.
The thing I don't like I
does
said
it solve, I
specifically
guess?
about
What does
music.
it
I just
solve?
don't want people to not
Play instruments.
be creative in expressing their music creativity anymore. Like, for example, take someone like Prince, who was born hardwired to be a musician. He's the kind of person that picked up instruments and learned them really well in a very short
Yeah.
amount of time. And he could write phenomenal amounts of high quality music. When you look at his catalog, and you're like, oh, this song by this, like he wrote so many songs for so many other artists, and you wouldn't even know it. One of my favorite songs from the '80s is Shaka Khan, "I Feel for You."
Yeah.
He wrote
song.
that. He
Yeah.
wrote that song. I just find that to be so awesome. So anyway, the point is,
What's your point?
imagine if Prince was born now, and his creativity was kind of overshadowed by, people that don't have those skills, like just having a computer write the music.
Yeah.
I feel like we can end up in a situation, we've talked about this before, but like in the movie WALL-E, when all the humans left the Earth, and
So that's
I'm not done. They left the Earth. They're in basically like movable couches essentially, and they're all fat and they're all like kind of dumb because they're not
Yeah.
using their brains. Like
they've been infantilized.
we're becoming way more of consumers of everything and not producers, and I don't like that.
All right. So I don't know that that's true. That's what's actually happening. And again, we have to talk about. Are you talking about like the median of people, or Is it everybody? Is there still going to be people who are going to be the princes, or whatever, the artists, the Mozarts, at the high end, even though most people are going to be down in, the wallowing in their mediocrity, which I think is what happens with most things. So here's the thing. I used this analogy previously when photography first came out. There was a lot of wringing of hands or how that was going to destroy art.
True.
And instead what it did is that it actually prompted a renaissance in art. It forced artists to be better and to be more innovative and to do different things and to do things that you couldn't reproduce with a camera. And I think that right now we're in the disruptive phase of AI, but my hope is that when we start to come out the other end, meaning we start to really see where things are going to settle in terms of some aspects of AI, the best case scenario is let's, for example, talk about something a little bit different. Let's talk about schools and teachers, right? So teachers are freaking out because students can just AI their homework and they're not doing work. So sure, you could wring your hands, you can give up, or you could say, how do I adapt to this new world? And in order to have value added as a teacher and be able to assess how my students are doing, I need to be creative. I need to do more interactive things. I need to be more interesting. Social media did that to education during my career. I started my career where we would stand up in front of a classroom of students and we would lecture at them and maybe answer some questions at the end. And the multimedia world that was unfolding at the time made that just obsolete. Why would people do that when they could watch a video or listen to a podcast in virtual time? Why do they have to gather in a classroom to passively be lectured at? It made no sense. So did that destroy the classroom? No, we adapted. We went to a more of a workshop structure.
But will we adapt? Because
teachers need to adapt. I think artists and musicians need to adapt. They need to say, okay, AI could do this. What can I do that AI can't do? And maybe we can't think of the answer, you and me sitting here right now. We don't know where it's going to. Some brilliant person somewhere will figure, they'll try out a bunch of different things and then something will take root. I think, for example, it may be that there's a renaissance, not that there was ever a decrease in it, but there might be a much greater value placed upon live performances because AI can't do a live performance, right? And so you become a musician not to record something that you sell in a digital format because that's valueless now. You do it to just give live performances. Just as an example. I don't think people will stop doing music. I don't think they'll stop learning to play instruments or stop giving live performances.
But what if consumers are not purchasing the music that they're writing and they're purchasing music?
Well, the industry is going to change, as I said.
Yeah.
Just like, you remember the conversation we had after Napster, where it's it's hard to make money selling music because people can freely share it. Right. And it's only gotten worse since then. Yeah, now with the streaming services, artists can't make money selling their music. You sell it maybe to your fans or whatever, but by bypassing it. But most music now is being streamed, and the artists make basically nothing off of that. So how do they make their money? They make their money in live performances and merchandise. Yeah, that's it. That's the model now. The business model has shifted.
But
you're not going to make your money selling records.
It's fair or it's good. It's because it's neither of those things.
It is what it is, which is my other answer, which is it doesn't matter if we think it's good or bad. It's happening. It's going to happen no matter what we think about it. So we might as well think of ways to adapt.
I don't know. I think you have some logical faults in there, Steve.
Where? Tell me.
Well, one is that you just said, well, it doesn't matter if it's good or bad. It's happening. And right, so that applies, universally, that applies to everything. Like, get over it. It's the environment that we live in and everything. Yeah, but I asked good or bad. That's bad. The fact that that musicians can't make money by the sale of their music.
That's already happening pre-AI. That's not even an AI phenomenon.
But
that's a streaming.
I am responding
sharing.
to what you just said.
Yeah, but just clarifying.
Things can be good or bad and they exist, right? I agree with you. It is what it is, and we have to adapt. But it doesn't mean that just because it exists and it's what the environment is, that it's good. And
I'm not saying that it is.
I'm commenting on the fact that bottom line is this: lots of bad things are happening.
Yeah.
To workers, to musicians, to people that are being directly affected by artificial intelligence, people losing their jobs and all this stuff, right? Now, in my view, artificial intelligence is so good to me in so many ways. I use it, and it helps me get my work done better, faster. It's like I'm the bionic man over here with AI. It helps a lot. I don't use it for creativity per se. I really don't. I use it to help me do like assistant stuff.
Yeah. I use it as a collaborator, basically.
Yeah, and a spell checker, and a way to do research and to collate research so I can turn it into something myself. But that is not where it ends, and this is the part that scares me about AI. AI isn't the next big thing like things in the past. This is like the thing. It is the big and probably biggest change any of us will likely see for a very long time, because it's evolving, it's getting better, it's getting faster and faster, and
so we have to be careful about what we're saying, because I'm not saying that we lay over and do nothing about it. The choice is, are you going to deny that it's happening? Are you going to fight the idea that it's happening, and with the idea that you're going to stop it from happening, or are you going to adapt to it
I'm not
and maybe
commenting on any of
control
that.
how it unfolds? I'm saying, like, in terms of AI, we're not stopping it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, just got to be
Steve,
realistic.
I agree with
we
you,
have
and
to
I
be
know all this.
realistic
We're
here.
talking past each other, though.
I'm also
asked
partly
people-
responding to what people are commenting on.
I asked the audience, in general, do you think this music thing is good or bad? And there's a lot that can be said just in that question. But in general, with all the things that AI can do, I think, humanity is leaning into a lot of the bad.
Yeah.
And it scares me. Again, I agree with you. I'm in the, we're
I think
swimming in this.
that's where regulation comes in. I think,
Yeah,
That's where
regulation. Not in the United States.
I think not anytime soon, but I think that, the AI corporations are leaning into like a profit version of it. And it's how do we collectively push back to say, okay, we know AI is coming. It's too powerful to ignore. Again, we live in a world with other countries that, there's no way we're going to stop this from happening. And generally speaking, it's a bad strategy to fight against technological progress, right? Like if you thought that there were downsides to motor vehicles taking to the streets, would that be a reason to fight against cars?
I'm not
That would have been a
fighting against
hopeless
it.
battle. I'm just saying. I'm just framing this up. I'm not saying you are.
I know, but
So therefore, you have to say, well, if this new technology is inevitable, and I am saying it's inevitable that AI is going to increase.
Is it?
Yeah, I do.
I mean, do you think that it's so out of the bag that nothing could
Yes,
be done?
the genie's out of the bottle. It's totally out of the bottle.
So wait a second.
We better try to control how it works.
I totally understand, and I agree, and the government needs to get heavily involved. Steve,
Yeah.
what if we were talking about something like, I don't even want to bring up guns because it's so controversial, but we're talking about something like AI, and you and I right now know it's going to be a net hugely horrible thing for humanity, right? Would you still say we can't fight against it?
It depends on the details matter. It depends on.
All right, let's come up with a scenario then, because what I'm saying is, I think, because somebody said something I totally agree with, and they said that like the tech bros want people to buy into it's inevitable mentality.
Yes, but that doesn't mean it isn't inevitable.
I'm not saying it isn't, but if we detect that AI is doing real bad damage, just like social media. Let's use social media. This is a better example. Social media.
Yeah.
For it or against it. I am so against social media
And
now.
so what are you going to do about it?
The point is, though, do we as humans just roll over every time?
I'm not saying roll over. That's a straw man. I'm
Okay.
saying. So again, you can go back to 2005 or whatever, 2000, and with your current thoughts about social media, and what would you do? I mean, just saying.
If I knew then what I know now.
Yeah. Would you argue for we got to stop social media from happening, or is it like we have to think about how to roll this out so that it's not destructive?
Yeah, I mean, I think again, you're right. I totally agree with the reality-based thinking. Of course, We could
because
only,
there's also benefits to it as well.
Sure, but the fact is that we're seeing over and over and over again that humanity is using these things in the darker way, and the people who create it and the way that
Using
they
it
frame
in every way.
All right, so let me say this whole thing better. We're focusing now on social media. The people who run social media largely are doing it in a way that's beneficial to them and not
Yes,
beneficial
I
to
agree.
humanity, and it's so freaking obvious. Like
Yeah.
Facebook is the perfect example of all of it.
So again, it gets back to my core question: is the solution banning it or regulating it?
If the government decided right now, where they're like, we're banning Facebook, we're going to vote, and if we all agree, we're going to ban Facebook from the United States, I would back that. I'm for that because I think the net gain on Facebook is way more bad
Then
than
what
it is
happens?
good. I don't know. I'm just
Does
saying.
the world become a brighter place, better place, or does TikTok fill the vacuum?
No, then
and
well, it depends on how deep you want to go. Because I don't think TikTok is as bad in a lot of measures as Facebook, but it certainly
I
is.
don't know that I agree with that.
It is definitely doing the, it's creating information bubbles for people because it shows you more of what you're spending your time watching. So it's not like, even when I like new videos that I see, typically they don't come up. It's basically following like this,
Yeah.
what it thinks is the aggregate things that I'm watching and what I'm going to respond to the most. That's bad. I think social
the
media.
algorithms are bad. I agree.
I think social media,
So no podcasts.
I didn't say that.
That's social media.
You think podcasts are social media?
Of course it
I
is.
mean, yeah.
Wait,
Podcast is social media.
explain that to me.
Blogs is social media.
Let's talk to each other about that. Social media?
Yeah.
Well, it's
not
the fifth estate, right? Like fourth estate is media, traditional. Fifth estate is like digital media, like bloggers,
I say
social
it's
podcasts.
digital media, but like social media to me, like there are things that make it what I consider to be real social media. Like one of them is it's owned by an incredibly powerful company
Yeah.
that has influence and has captured a lot of people onto the platform, that they start developing algorithms and working that platform in a manner that does damage, right? And I think all of us can think of many ways
Right.
that these platforms do damage. Like I don't think podcasts in general, I look at like podcasts as they're all little islands. It's not like this platform.
Well, there
Well,
are aggregators, and those aggregators
Yeah.
can be controlled by
Sure, the
algorithms.
aggregators-
We'll give you a big example: Joe Rogan on Spotify.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think his particular
But
podcast.
Spotify isn't social media.
I mean, yeah, I would.
So the
kind-
lines are blurred. You're trying to make a clean cut there. I don't think there is a clean cut.
I mean,
there.
I know what you're saying, and I don't disagree. Like, but like, all right, there are people who use Facebook who don't succumb.
What about what we're doing right now? Is that social
It's
media?
social. I would.
Do you
There's
wanna-
an
you
active
wanna
chat.
Stop. I can turn the lights off, and we can walk away.
I'm just my
Let me
point
turn the
is.
lights off.
Listen, I agree. We agree with the problem.
Yeah.
Bye.
All right. It's okay. It's
agree.
all over.
We agree with the problem.
Yes.
And again, there isn't really a great solution. I do think there's positive aspects of social media as well. But I think you're misidentifying the problem. I don't think the problem is social media writ large. Just like I don't think the problem is AI writ large.
Okay.
The problem is powerful interests getting control of the nexus of that.
And when does that not happen?
Well, will always happen by default. That is human history. That goes back to the chariot, whatever. If there's the longbow, whenever there is some technology that represents some kind of strategic advantage, a way of holding on to wealth and power, people with wealth and power will try to monopolize and dominate that technology.
And without a government,
That's happened throughout history, and now it's happening now. The whole point of government is all the people gather together and collectively say, no, we're not going to let a few rich assholes control our lives.
Well, that's not. Yeah.
And-
well,
but-
that hasn't worked out.
Well, it worked out great for a while, but now we're getting into an era where the rich and the powerful have really powerful tools. Government wasn't able to adapt quickly enough to it, and we got behind the eight ball. Now we're in a position where there's too much overlap between, the billionaires and the tech companies.
The government.
and the government.
The government is that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it is that,
Well,
but I'm saying
when Trump did hit, when Trump's
there's way too much overlap now. They have way too much control. It doesn't mean that there's no way out. It just means that We have to be way more active. We can't just like pay attention for a couple of months and vote once every 4 years and think we're going to be managing our government.
And do you think that's happening?
Well, I think we need a renaissance of political activity.
Well,
in
that's
this
great to
country.
say, Steve. But what's happening is we're fucking sinking.
Then what's the way out?
The way out? That's a great question. Okay, so one way out would be that we elect officials who actually put,
Which requires political engagement.
Exactly. That actually, make it so obvious that we want regulation to protect our citizens from all of these out of control services.
Right.
That's one thing.
Right now we're getting deregulation.
But again, when a government gets into a tailspin, it's really hard for that government to recover from that because we've taken so many steps down from.
Well, we'll look at it this way: social media is promoting government that promotes unregulated social media, and that's, I think, the doom loop that we're currently in, right? And when you start to see all the tech bros, like Mark Zuckerberg at the White House, chumming up with Trump and his people, and you realize, okay, that's what's happened, is that the Silicon Valley decided for 2024 that they were going to back the deregulator to give them, free reign for AI, free reign for social media, and they use that to support the government that supports that free reign. And that's what we're stuck in. And then you have well-paid political operatives who are really good at manipulating social media and manipulating people to distract us from what's really going on.
Yeah.
To distract us with ginned up bullshit culture issues. Not that there aren't real issues in there, but it's like focus all of your attention on this when in fact AI, through AI and tech bros and social media, whatever, we're basically losing our democracy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what's happening.
And again, like as I scroll through the last 30 minutes of you and I talking, it's hard for me to make a coherent summary of what we're actually discussing here. The bottom line is, it started with the question: is Suno a good or bad thing? Right?
Yeah.
Is this
Suno's destroying the world?
That's right.
But it's representative of many, many things in our society. We clicked over to social media and everything. And again, people largely are agreeing with the sentiment that, the only real thing that would work would be an active government that is for the people, that is putting down regulation, antitrust laws, and all these different things to actually help.
We need a charismatic political leader who can articulate this in a populist way, as much as I hate populism generally, but in a populist but not anti-intellectual way, like really clarify, guys, this is what's happening. This is what we need to use our collective power to rebalance the equation here. The tech bros have way too much power. Billionaires have way too much power. The fossil fuel industry has way too much power. They have figured out how to move the levers of government and social media and everything. Bad actors like Russia and China are using these levers for authoritarianism. Authoritarianism is on the rise around the entire world. They're doing it by scaring people about immigration and blah blah blah, and globalization and everything. And we also have a feckless parties pretty much on the left who mean well but just don't know how to deal with all of this.
Yep.
We need a way out of it. This is the way out of it. We need to get our fucking shit together and have some real solutions to these problems. And I don't see somebody doing that. I see people nibbling around the edges and maybe having pieces of it, or they kind of have it, but they're tying it to an even more radical agenda. It's like we just need some common sense, rejiggering of the balance of power in this country and in this world.
Pete Buttigieg is doing a really good job.
He's a very smart guy.
Of saying what's happening.
I admire him. I don't know that he's totally landed the plane, though. Yeah, I don't know that he's really crystallized.
No, we haven't seen. Gavin Newsom is pushing back really hard against Trump and everything.
He's experimenting.
He's doing Twitter.
I haven't heard the vision that I think that's it. That's the one that's going to lead us out of this mess. I haven't heard that yet. Maybe it's out there in somebody, local politics, whatever, and maybe part of this project, the political reality podcast that Andrew and I are doing, is an exploration of how do we get ourselves out of this mess?
Yeah.
What are the pieces in play? Who are the players in play? Let's just start from the beginning. How does this whole thing work? How does politics work? How do people work? How does voting work? What's the difference between democracy and autocracy and dictatorship and whatever? where are we in all this, and what levers do we still have at our disposal that we could use to get us out of this. But I do think the one common thing is it's going to take a much higher level of political engagement, and it's going to take a much higher level of everyone, or at least, again, a core movement dedicated to fucking reality, to facts. The problem is both, like, Jon Stewart, I think, in his show this week nailed this thing where now every time there's a mass shooting, the conversation is entirely about, was he a left radical or a right-wing radical? As if that's the only thing that matters, when that's the least important piece of information about it. It has nothing to do with, again, what's actually happening. It's just like, can we blame them or do they blame us for this? Then don't worry about it. 2 days from now, there'll be another mass shooting, and then we can deconstruct whether he was a lefty radical or
over
righty,
and over and over again.
It's ridiculous. It's all a distraction. It's all just feeding the media machine, and that we have to get out of that and start talking about facts and reality again, so that we can have a freaking conversation about reality.
Steve, I mean, I will applaud you for, basically stating all of these premises and all of this stuff in a very wonderful chain of thought. I like it. I like everything that you said. I agree with everything that you said. This all started with me like kind of poking you a little bit about whether or not, Suno is good or bad. I love it. Because this is
which led to AI, which led to social media, which leads to the dark side, whatever. So
I know where you're going with that.
Which leads to sadness.
Suffering.
Which leads to suffering.
So the bottom line is that the stated premise is that we're in a situation right now where we have all the wrong people with all the wrong levers. And the only way, and this is just the United States, guys. Again, I got to make that perfectly clear. I am not dialed into anything that's going on in any other country to a degree where I would actually say something.
Well, we export our crazy, so.
But the point being that the absolute only thing that we can do in the United States as U.S. citizens is become educated on the topics. Don't care what the truth is, just know what the truth is. Don't have a goddamn political opinion, have a evidence-based opinion.
Right.
Don't belong
not a partisan opinion.
Don't belong
it's
to
political.
a team. Just
don't
get rid of
belong
team
to
thinking.
a team.
Because
belong to reality.
I mean, I have seen people for a very long time now, like, let's just say, in 9 years, I have seen people make the worst leaps of horrible logic just so their color can be the one on top. All of it, everything that I did on Facebook for the last fucking 9-10 years has been me talking to people who don't care about the truth. They care about being able to think that their team is winning. And to me, that is goddamn despicable. I'm so unbelievably over it at this point. Like, I'm not even I can't even discuss things in that nature anymore. To me, it's all about we are going to go down to the facts. We are going to get down to the nitty gritty and talk about the nuances and the facts. And if you are in any way, if someone is talking to me in any way that is politically motivated, I immediately call them out and I don't want to talk to them anymore. Because it's just a waste of fucking time.
Well, you have to get the meta conversation. You have to say, if you're driven by ideology and partisanship, that leads to, motivated reasoning and confirmation bias.
Again, which means nothing to any of them.
Well, you got to get them. That's the point. You got to get them to understand that before you can have a conversation. There's no point in talking about, whatever gun safety laws until you're agree that there's a shared reality of facts and logic and evidence,
which we don't have anymore. But a common.
But how do we get it back?
A common thing that happens is I'll be talking about a topic. And the person will have their position, and then I'll deconstruct their position or lay down some basically facts. This is the playing field. This is what we're talking about right here. And they don't even dip their toe in that. It is just circling around their position and how they're not going to budge and demonizing the other side. So what I typically do is if anybody ever says something like this to me, if they go, I'm just talking to someone online right now. We're talking about the gender sex issue and everything. Really getting into it. It's good. Finally getting into the details. And I have to admit, this particular person is the only person that I've had a discussion with in the last 9 years where we went from trying to talk to each other to it getting weird and hostile, largely not on my part. I'm reactionary. If you give me sass, I'll give you sass back. But I don't bring it. Bottom line is, he brought it back to rational discussion. We had a nice rational discussion, and it ended up in a good place. And my head almost fell off. I was like, how did this just happen? So I praise that person for having the bravery to put away the anger and actually get back to, a more rational position. But one thing that he said that lots of people say to me is they'll complain about the left. Like I'm labeled as like an ultra liberal, which I'm not. And they'll say, what about all this crazy stuff that they're saying about trans people and they're chanting and they're doing this and they're doing that? And I'm like, yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy. And those are the extremists on the left, which I don't.
It's a big world.
But we have to be able to go, hey, look, I belong in a political spectrum, right? I'm a left-leaning centrist at this point, right? And again, like, how do you define that today? Because like what's been going on. But the bottom line is, it's like, I want things to be based on fact. I want people to have the health care that they need. I want kids to get good educations, blah, 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 which most people should agree with, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't care if you're on the left or the right at this point. If you're a left lunatic, I say it. Yeah, that's crazy. I'm not going to defend that because they're a little bit closer to me than the wackos on the right either. It doesn't matter. It's all lunacy. Mm-hmm. We need to.
But like what lunacy on the left? Like what? There's not. I don't think that.
Ian, what I'm saying is that there is people that are so over the freaking top.
Yeah,
like,
there's weirdos.
There are anarchists on the left. There's like we don't need any police. We don't need any police. They're all bad. That's like the lunacy.
12
that's on
people
the
in Discord. Like that's.
No, I agree with you. These are the extremes.
That's the point, though,
and
Ian.
There's always extremes to point to.
But the extreme on the right is in power.
But
I agree. I totally agree with you.
We don't have a left wing in the.
But the problem is this. The problem is if we don't have the balls.
It's not balanced, is what you're saying.
It's not balanced, right?
I mean, they exist.
But there are, unfortunately, there are extremists on the left that is just fodder for the right to say, look at all those liberals are defund the police, open borders, blah, 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 whatever it is, abortion on demand, whatever. They come up with the most extreme.
Somebody brought up a perfect example. People who cheered for and supported the death of Charlie Kirk.
That's like, okay. I mean,
but the point is, Ian, let me make my point. You're getting angry, and I want to help you.
No, but just say who gives a damn if people cheer?
Exactly,
or not?
But the point is, have the balls. If you belong to a political party, if you do, and if someone can legitimately call you a Republican or a Democrat, which most of us fall into that category, right? I don't have loyalty to a political party or to a politician.
Obviously you shouldn't.
Deliberately, I force myself to not care about these people. The second any of them step out, like Joe Biden, I'll bitch about that guy right now for an hour. Yeah, I'm livid with that fucker. I'm so angry at him in particular about lots of things. And I say it. And I will tell people, hey, there's left lunatics. Absolutely, you're right. And they should be complained about. There's right lunatics, and they need to be complained
about.
Joe
Biden is not a left lunatic.
He's not a left lunatic, but what I can tell you things, though, that he did, that he's at fault for, that had significant impact on what's happening right now.
Oh, yeah,
clearly.
Clearly.
So, but we have to say that. We have to create the...
But the thing is, you have to do that without creating a false balance, because there isn't a balance
I agree with that, too.
Right now, we have, like, on the left... We have a center-left party with a progressive wing.
Biden could not have released the Epstein files, by the way.
And we have a radical right party that is in control.
Yeah,
right.
Those files were under lock, like a court lock. He couldn't do it. I mean, if he didn't care about the laws, he could have done it. But,
or Congress could have done it.
Yeah, but he couldn't do it.
Anyway, this is probably more of a discussion for the PR podcast.
Yeah.
Is somebody complaining about
subscribe now? Actually, we don't have the button.
Is somebody angry at me in the chat about what I'm saying here? What is this guy saying?
Who said it?
Look, let me clarify my position.
I mean,
let me clarify my position. If you belong to a political party, your party has lunatics. I don't care if there's one, if there's 1,000, if there's 100,000. They're there. And if you're going to associate yourself with a certain political party, you have to be able to say, yeah, that's crazy, and I don't agree with that. I'm not being a Republican or a Democrat doesn't mean you're the whole spectrum of what that party encompasses. And I draw very clear lines. I'm a centrist. and I don't belong to a party because I can't. It's like I don't vote. I don't give a shit if one football team wins over the other. It's the same way you should be about political parties. But if we don't acknowledge that the systems that we loosely belong to themselves are effed up, you're basically you're making the idea that there is this dichotomy happening more real, and we need to make it less real. You could be a Democrat and a Republican and still be a centrist. You can be.
Yeah, I wouldn't call you a centrist, though. I think you're independent, maybe, is more.
Well, independent.
Because centrist has an implicit idea that you are straddling the line between, like, a fucking Nazi and whatever is on the left.
Yeah,
Like,
somebody
that
said
is
tired of
not
red
correct.
versus, like, let's stop the red versus blue thing.
Yeah,
And
that's what you're saying.
Let me tell
Right.
you, I have more to say. I
That
have a
is
lot to
different.
say.
I understand.
I have a lot to say.
I get that.
And I want to talk. I'm holding
holding
the
his
thing.
hand.
Okay, this is what I want to say. Recently, I have been accused of being a sociopath. I started the conversation on this particular thread on Facebook by saying that I think we have, like, this was the Charlie Kirk thing, right? And I was responding to that. And my point was, we have to stop using the word they, right? I said, this is dangerous.
Yeah, I agree
Don't
with that.
say
That's fair.
they think it was okay that he was murdered. That's bullshit. They don't think that
There
it
is
was
no
okay.
they.
Right.
It's like, who is the they?
Then they dropped some survey that some news station did that said half of Democrats are perfectly okay with political violence. And I'm like, that's bullshit. That is not reality. And you have to stop talking this. That is not what all of us, the vast majority of all of us, even people who are deep, deep, deep MAGA, want what you want. They want to have a good life. They want to make money. They want their kids to be happy, healthy, and successful. They want to enjoy their time. They're just captured by some nonsense politics that they can't find their way out of. And that's happening on both sides. But as the skeptics, I think our ideal position is to not be affiliated with the Republican Party, stand outside of that, of that binary system and reject it, and stop letting people say they on both sides. We have to, because if we don't, then we are totaled already. And we are the people that have the brain power to actually think our way out of this team-based ridiculous thinking. Because the fucking Democrats are screwed up too. Not in the same way, not to the same degree, but there's big problems over there. They don't know what the fuck they're doing, guys.
Right.
They're not going to
That's
save
more
us.
accurate.
Now you're saying they.
Yeah,
They, as I'm specifically
Democrats,
speaking about a very
specifically. I
small
know.
number of
But
they. I'm talking about the
There are some individual Democrats that have
fine, but they're
know
not.
what
They're not
doing.
solving the problem, Steve. They're not. And
As
we're
a
not-
party.
they're-
as a party.
Can I say something about what should be happening in Democrat land right now? They should have a goddamn task force of people, super smart people that are working every single day to figure out how do we dig out of this? Who is going to be the next person that we put up that's going to help us be the front person to get out of this, and have processes that they're developing to undo as best as they can and rebuild as best as they can.
But that does require ideological conviction.
That's
You
not
have to
happening,
have-
though.
I know, but like we can't also say we should have no ideologies on either side. Skepticism has an ideology. It's like
So,
we believe in science.
You can have
and
it.
you're
but
right.
what-
It's fine. It's actually fine to have an ideology, but there's got to be a priority. You know, the priority should be to the country. It should be to the Constitution and
the citizens,
democracy.
I mean,
It should be to the citizens of the country, and then it's okay to put just loyalty to your to your ideology,
Sure.
Yeah.
and then to your party at the
that
bottom. I
comes
would think
way down
that's
there.
fine.
bottom. Yeah,
What's
I agree.
what's unfortunately what's happened is that's flipped.
Yes,
is
that's
that
right.
people are loyal to the party first, then ideology, and everything else can go fuck themselves. That's the world that we're in right now. That's the problem, right? Even like with the Republicans, like I used to think, oh yeah, the Republicans are really the problem with the Republicans is that they're tied to their ideology over common sense and whatever. And it's like, no, that's not true. They're tied to their party even over ideology. They
Yeah.
will flip on a dime. On free trade, all right, well, that's gone. Who cares? Apparently that's not. We don't care about that anymore. So you know what I mean? Like it's all party now. That's the problem. That is
So-
a huge problem because it used to be. And again, it's fine when we had political parties are part of politics. It's fine when there are different groups with different priorities and different ideologies or whatever, and to identify with that. It's okay to identify with one party because that mainly aligns with your overall ideological bent. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that or. But the problem is when it becomes everything. When it used to be, even earlier in our lifetime, when, sure, people were loyal to their party, but with limits. Like but if beyond a certain limit, there would be a floor of sleaze and lying that they would tolerate.
Yeah.
Now there's no floor.
Yeah.
It's all good. As long as you're on my team, it's all good. There's nothing, there's no bottom to how horrible people can get.
Of course.
And people don't realize the long-term downside of that. There might be some short-term political gain in supporting your team no matter what. But long-term, that means we, the voters, collectively no longer have any control over our government because the politicians have learned that there's no price to pay for being a total lying, stealing scumbag. So guess what's going to happen? The good people were like, I'm done with politics. I can't do it anymore. This lying, scumbags are like, this is for me. This works very well with my MO. Thank you. And people who are flexible are going to become more and more scumbags. That's the world that we're living in right now. So again, part of the solution is we have to dial down the partisanship by an order of magnitude. It's got to go way down. We have to realize that there are times when we have to vote against our party and for democracy, right? There are times we have to vote against our party and for the country.
Where are you though, Steve? Like, do you agree with my whole, like, just drop the party bullshit at this point?
I think we need to dial it. I think personally, yes. I don't identify with any political organization or party or even ism or ideology.
Why can't you just be a rational thinker?
Each issue on its own based upon facts and logic.
Perfectly said.
I wouldn't call that centrism per se because people think means something different, but you're using the word centrism. I get what you're saying.
So what's the right word for that?
I mean,
it's just nonpartisan.
Yeah,
just got to be nonpartisan and non-ideological. Right. I just want each issue...
Proud American.
Yeah, just evidence-based, common sense, reasonable values.
Yeah.
Each issue on its own, and on each, when you lay it all out, I'm all over the place.
Yeah, me too.
Because some issues skew more left, some issues skew more right, some issues skew. There are some issues where I'm as far left progressive as you could possibly get on that issue, on that one issue.
Yep.
There are other issues where I'm kind of center right. There are, It's kind of. It's a mixed bag.
Look, I get
because it depends on the issue.
There's a lot of sentiment out there, and I agree. Like, when the house is on fire, don't worry about the refrigerator not being as cold as you want it to be. I get that, right? The Democrats, in my opinion, are infinitely less dangerous entity than what's going on with the Republican Party.
Well, the Republican Party has been captured by a very
religious radicals,
by a populist movement that's very bad, and it's also with a front man, Trump, who is particularly narcissistic and cruel and ignorant.
Yeah.
And and the Republican Party is way more spineless than I thought that they were going to be. I mean, 20 years ago, I would have a hard time believing how completely abjectly spineless that they've been.
Yeah.
And so it's a constellation of those things that have led us to the absolute insanity that we're experiencing right now. The legislative branch, the Senate and the House, will freely give away all their power. Okay, why would they do that? But apparently, there's nothing holding back this populist movement, and so it's been captured and it's not just a populist movement. Within that populist movement, there's an authoritarian movement.
Yeah.
This is the Project 2025 people. This is the executive presidency, or whatever they call it. He's already done
40% of accomplished 40% of what was in Project 2025.
Yeah.
He's got 20% more in the works right now, and we are not even 12 months into his presidency. So this whole thing about Trump saying that he doesn't even know what it is complete bullshit, as if everyone didn't know. But I wanted to give you those numbers.
No, I think it's hard to look at everything that's happening and not conclude that there's a deliberate kind of authoritarian takeover happening. I think you have to be willfully in denial.
My point
to miss that
is I still
which does change everything.
I think we should still look at people who are in a political place that you don't like MAGA, for me in particular. I still look at them as human beings, and I still look at them as people that want what I want. They've just been completely duped into believing shit that is so not reality, and it scares me. Right? So but the point is though, is if you stop saying they and expressing they online, like cheering that Charlie Kirk died, which was the dumbest goddamn thing anybody could have done, right? It's so obvious. The reality is Free speech is more important than anything else. If you take away free speech, we are totally done. Like, it's just completely over at that point. Charlie Kirk had every goddamn right to say anything that he wanted to. But for people to be cheering that he died,
Yeah, but, I mean, look, life is more, I would say, more important than free speech.
I'm
I know,
talking
but
about,
the point is like people, if they want to cheer it, like that is also part of free speech. Who gives a fuck? Like I don't care. They might be assholes, but like that is part of free speech. They're
but
allowed
we have to be smart.
celebrate
We have to be smart about it,
if they
Ian,
want
because
to.
if you do that, look, let me tell you my honest take on the guy. I knew nothing about him. I knew nothing.
Yeah.
When he died, I'm like, shit. I was scared because I just didn't want more people to get hurt. Right, that was my first response. I didn't care that he died because I didn't know him or have anything invested in the guy. It was just like anybody else. If we cared about every single death, we'd be all insane at this point. You can't. The point is, I didn't like the response that was happening online because it was
but I
it was
think
polarizing people even more.
Most of the
Most of the
response was
response was-
perfectly fine.
Well,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Again, I think you're responding to
the media telling you what to
the
do.
right
Yes.
pointing to the worst on the left.
But
And
I'm not done because I
that's
have a more
distorted-
nuanced level here.
Yeah.
So we have the small number of vocal people who are like doing all the wrong things in response to what he did, right? And I agree with you, Ian. They have the right to say it, but
And you have the right to be mad at them.
but I
back,
think the vast
obviously.
majority of us critical thinkers should have vocally said, that's ridiculous. Those people are wrong. It's an insane thing to do and say. It's a horrible thing to do and say, and condemn the reaction to what happened.
But why? Why condemn it? Why do you
Because
need
we have to
condemn
show
it?
the other side that we are not
No,
only those
no.
radicalists, but we are not going to
No,
play into.
You don't need to fight their hypocrisy. They are always hypocrisy baiting us to like try to get us to say, "Oh, we love Charlie Kirk" or whatever. Like it never ends for the
we have
authoritarians.
to get above the fray.
Yeah, it's like
That's
it's
what
irrelevant.
I'm
I think-
saying, though. I'm saying the way to get above it.
All right, we're gonna bring this
Yeah,
to
we
a
gotta-
close.
Go ahead,
I'm gonna say
Steve.
one more thing.
Yes.
The question is,
Wait, you hated Charlie Kirk?
No, don't
question
put that
is-
out there. Jesus Christ.
are we still in a zone where we could get ourselves out of this mess by voting? Right? Is
I don't know.
Oh, that's a good
Is the
question.
midterms actually going to be a real election?
So
or not?
we will see. We will see. I mean, I think we will be able to vote. I don't, and I think that it
Yeah,
will.
but with what
it will
Texas
have
just done, it
I
just
know,
did.
but that's gerrymandering is an attempt to take the power of the vote away from people. It's a way for the politicians to choose their voters
Yes.
and not voter. It is a power shift. It's bad. The only thing is, will it balance itself out? Because at present, there's still enough states controlled by Democrats that they could maybe
Counter it. Yeah.
but which is bad in and of itself. Then
It
you
is
have the
bad.
question of, well, is that going to just get us into a worse situation? Whatever. I don't. That's
I
a
know.
discussion
It's
for
like
the PR
the shutdown.
podcast.
The shutdown is bad.
Yeah,
but
the
like,
shutdown's bad, but there's no no
right.
good solution.
So anyway, go ahead.
But for now, we have to assume that we can still change things with our votes. We have
Hopefully.
to get off our ass and
Hopefully.
vote. We have to educate ourselves enough so we can make an informed vote.
Exactly.
And I think we should prioritize voting against authoritarians. Anyone who's trying to tear down democracy. I think the number one issue that voters should prioritize is fixing our democracy, getting rid of gerrymandering, getting rid of the electoral college, having ranked choice voting, whatever it, having multi-district, representative, whatever. We have to figure out how to fix our democracy to actually get it in line with most modern democracies around the world.
That would be nice.
We're a little calcified,
But like you said, we need somebody who can articulate all
Yes,
those things
I don't hear
too.
anybody really articulating
Yeah.
that.
They
Ian,
need
can you
to-
send George a link?
Oh, is he going to join?
Yeah.
Okay, let me set that up. Yeah.
Then we get back to talking about some lighter stuff.
Yeah, let's get
Yeah,
back
all right.
to
I'm saying, guys,
We're
I'm
obviously very concerned about what's
Yeah, I
happening in our
mean-
democracy, and it's easy to set us off.
If you couldn't tell,
But
I am sorry if we did go too long. I lose my time sense when it comes to this because this is the thing that is destroying my peace of mind. I am constantly turning it
it's a
over.
very
in my head
stressful
thinking about it.
moment
you
to
can
be an
skip
American.
to here now.
I know a lot.
and
Some of
somebody-
our colleagues and our listeners in other countries are like, "You guys, you Americans are so cute with like your first brush with authoritarian."
I agree.
We've
I
been through it
agree.
and we survived. It's like, yeah, all right, but you have to realize our whole life, we took democracy for granted.
Yeah.
Yes, things happened. There was corruption. There was this and that. But all of the politicians, pretty much that we dealt with, it always had the common common core of, but democracy was inviolate. American democracy meant something.
Yeah.
And that is gone. That is gone. And that is scary.
Yeah.
That we can no longer take democracy for granted. And now we have to fight for our democracy
Yeah.
again.
And
We're doing it in a world with social media and AI and tech bros and so we're trying to figure all these 5 crises out at once. And it seems that everybody in power is failing us. Everyone. Yes, there are some people who are smart and saying good things, but it just seems collectively our politicians have failed us, whether because they're poorly intentioned or because they don't know what's going on. They don't know how to figure out how to deal with it either, or there's infighting or whatever. It's just not working. And most of us don't see a clear path out. We just have sort of hope that something good happens. But again, I think what we have to do is do our job, our civil duty of making an informed vote, and hope that's enough. And maybe we have to take to the streets and write your representative, write your senator, be more active in that way. We have to show outrage. The problem is our outrage is exhausted, which is part of the plan.
Yeah, of course.
They've exhausted us to the point that we can't fight anymore.
It's conditioning. Hey, this is what you do.
It's like an abusive relationship.
Go to a No Kings event local to you on October 18th. I'm going, and I might go to 2 of them because they don't all happen at the same time. If the numbers are extreme, which I'm 100% sure it's going to be a massive turnout, that works. That pushes the balls forward. Mm-hmm. It's powerful, and it also shows that there's millions and millions and millions of people who are willing to get out of their freaking houses and protest this horrible thing that's happening. As a matter of fact, you go and take 10 people with you. That's what we can do. This is one of those things that has come up where we all should partake. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Now, moving on to a much more important thing. Ladies and gentlemen, George Hrab will be joining us any second now because Ian can get him here so fast your head will spin.
No, it'll totally spin. All right, so I sent him the link. Tell him I sent it to his email. That is the one with his name. And
all right, so I'm telling him check again.
Let's play the hold music while we're waiting for.
And then what'll happen is George will come on. We'll quickly tell him what's happening.
Yeah, we'll ask him.
We'll play him the music.
Should we have a multi-party system? Should we have only one party? What's better? No party. No birthday parties. All right, chat. How's everybody
writing
doing?
back.
Should we do? All right. So I sent him the link. He should be joining any second now. We could do a little thing while we're waiting for him. Oh, so there was.
He got it. He's going to click any second.
Never mind.
We're moments away now.
We're seconds.
Steve, you like the band Cake?
Of
I
course.
don't know them.
Yeah. Will there be cake?
They have a lot of good songs.
Cake,
long,
C-A-K-E,
short
cake.
skirt and a long.
Yeah.
Jacket.
Oh yeah, that I do know their music. I didn't know that was the name of the band. I like them. I like them.
Engines thumping.
Yeah,
good time.
I like that.
That
yeah.
song is great. And then the other one,
Will
but
Survive.
baby, you're never there.
Oh yeah, never
Yes.
there.
Take the time to get to know me.
I do like their music.
All right, come on, George. What are you doing to this
He's
freaking
coming.
thing?
Relax.
Here he comes.
So, before we get
No,
George
that
in
is
here-
what's happening.
No, I know, but we could just do this real quick. We talked about
Go
somebody,
ahead.
the guy who shot up, more, political violence, but in a way, the man who killed 4 people in New York.
Mm-hmm.
So he did have an autopsy. If you remember, he shot himself.
Yes.
And he had a note that said, he had CTE and he
Yeah.
wanted people to look at his brain. And it did turn out that he did have CTE. So I don't know. That's just a follow up on that.
He had
story.
mild,
Right.
early. You can call it early. You can call it mild CTE.
Right. So that could be.
Don't
part
know
of
what. It's
what's
hard
a
to know what
CTE?
that means.
what to say. That's
So this is
chronic.
chronic traumatic encephalopathy. Basically, if you get hit in the head too many times, we used to call it pugilistic dementia, right? Because boxers would get it. You get concussion after concussion after concussion, or just even minor head trauma after minor head trauma, and you get little tiny amounts of damage, and it builds up over time, and then you get in the aggregate that can cause neurological.
So how hard of a
dysfunction.
hit would be register as too much?
Well, so that's a good question. So for example, there is some evidence that even heading a soccer ball, it might be enough. You know what I mean? So it's just not good for your head to get any
I don't
trauma.
like that. I don't like it.
I know.
I like it.
Which is why it's important to wear a helmet when you ride a bike, et cetera, et cetera. But the subsequent question is, does having CTE cause violence? So there's definitely a correlation with violence. But of course, you could argue that, well, violent people are more likely to get CTE rather than CTE making people more violent. But there is a plausible mechanism. If you do have damage in the executive function, sort of frontal lobe part of the brain, that could make it easier or more difficult to inhibit your emotional outbursts. And I certainly have had patients, for example, who had head trauma. And one of the symptoms of their traumatic brain injury, which is basically like getting CTE all at once, with one massive head injury.
Yeah.
It was they get emotional outbursts.
Right, George is in.
They can't control their emotions. So
here we go.
That happens.
So
That's a
here we go,
neurological
everyone. George Hrab,
The
who I think
man.
we can hear.
There he is.
Speaking of head injury,
George.
What's up, George? George, you were listening to some funk music, and we thought of you.
We did.
All right, so here's the premise, George.
oh, is it the fake?
Yes.
Fake funk.
Yes.
All right,
The
so
fake funk.
yeah, so listen to first this song that Ian thinks is
Give me a second.
AI.
Give me a second.
We're gonna
Give me a
load the
second.
gun with a bunch
We're
of
gonna
different things, and we gotta
load-
talk. Okay.
Hold on.
Okay.
Let me do this, and then let me
Fire
get the
away.
main shot switcher so we can have him, and then I gotta get this. So hold on.
Come on, Ian.
I know it's there. I don't have a scene
My
built out for this. I'm building it on the
goodness.
fly. Screen share. There we go. Boom. All right. So yeah. So this was an AI YouTube video. I mean, there's no video really to it, but
a sound.
it's a sound. And let's go back to it. It's called Fake Music. So they have a bunch of different
Yes. Yes.
things. You've probably seen it. I mean, it's like if you haven't seen this, you've at least seen
Yes.
something similar, right?
Yeah, there was a Rage Against the Machine.
Yep.
There was a.
In fact, I think this one has Rage Against the
So
Machine. Maybe
are
can
we
play
sure
that.
though that this is one thing we want to ask you is the song
Yeah.
that Ian's about to play you? Do you think it's real? Like, meaning,
Let me
is
see
it
what the most popular one is?
is it completely AI or what?
I'm going to do Back in Black, the soul version.
Okay.
Just because that's the most
Oh.
popular, and see what you
Yeah.
think. You should be able to
Yeah.
hear this. Stand by, everyone.
Fake horn.
Yeah, fake one. That's true.
Back in black, I hit the sack. Too long gone, yeah, I'm glad to be back.
All right, what do you think,
Let
George?
loose, breaking the
To me,
news.
that's knowing the constraints of what's happening. That's 100% artificial.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if that was played to me 6 weeks ago, 6 months ago, or a year ago, I'd have been like, "Oh, that's really great."
Yeah.
You know, it's you. I mean, that's how smart the stuff is now. It understands the constraints of the style, and
Yeah.
can manufacture. Now, I don't know if someone's in there
Tweaking it.
saying, "Here's the changes that I want," or "Here's the horn line."
Right.
I doubt even that's happening.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to convince myself of, but I don't
Yeah.
know anymore.
I mean, it's a-
like
It's a really good cover because it's following
Yeah.
a lot of the original song.
Yeah.
All right, so
I mean,
I
and there's a whole bunch of them that are really like, if I was still in PFA, if I was still in the funk band, like I would do these covers.
yeah, 100%.
Because
Yeah.
they're great. They're great arrangements. And it's just,
I mean, in a
it's-
way,
that's scary. Okay, so George, I made a song on Suno during this live stream. I basically just said
doesn't understand anything.
do
That's
a
a good point.
do a cover of the song "Hold Me Now" by the Thompson Twins, and I gave it the lyrics. Okay.
Yeah.
I have two of them. I'm going to play for you. One of them is version 3.5, and one is version 5. Right. This is 3.5 right here.
I have a picture pinned to my wall, an image of you and of me, and we're laughing and loving it all. But look at our life now, all tattered and torn. We fuss and we fight, and delighting with tears as we cry until dawn. Oh, oh, oh.
Okay. What's your take on that?
Well, again, you're just using, excuse me, you're just using lyrics. There's no melodic content in the original song.
Correct.
So, I don't think you had to say. Did you prompt it with Thompson Twins? Or
I did. I said funky version of the Thompson Twins song "Hold Me Now," and I gave it the lyrics.
Yeah, I mean, it seems they've just taken the lyrics and generic funk environment there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's astonishing.
It's not following the song. No, I agree. All right,
Yeah.
now, so with 3.5 in your head, that version, here's 5. Same exact prompt and everything. It's just a much, much better version. Here we go.
Okay.
I have a picture into my wall, an image of you and of me, and we're laughing and loving it all.
I mean,
Again,
I'm blown away by
melody's
that.
The melody's not there. I mean,
Yeah.
and that's that's a complaint I have of human covers too. Like I know. What's the jukebox band? Millennial Jukebox? No, what are they called?
Mid something. You're right. I know what you're talking about.
Right?
Box. Yeah, no, it's a band.
They're great, and they do these like postmodern jukebox.
That's what it is. Yep.
Postmodern jukebox does cover versions of modern songs, but like in a 30s and 20s, 30s, 40s
Yeah, I've heard
style.
that. Uh-huh.
And some of them are great. Some of them are really cool. Some of them, however, simply take the words and they make new melodies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that to me isn't as interesting because,
Yeah.
like, to me, the real marriage of songwriting is lyric and melody. And a melody is, a melody is a melody.
Right.
So even when you're interpreting a melody, you should still do the melody. So here, the melodic content of the Thompson Twins stuff is pretty much gone.
I don't
But
know
like
if
a soul
Suno can
person
even
would do
that.
that.
I don't think Suno
Well-
would do it for legal reasons. I'm not
Okay.
sure though.
Yeah.
But my first question is, you saw the major difference between 3.5 and 5, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a production. It's hard, coming out of your phone to really get the overall production stuff. But yeah, there's a difference. Sure.
The vocals, especially, like some
Yeah.
of the licks are
Yeah.
weird in
So-
the first one.
I made a point that the artificial music, as an example of one little piece of AI, the thing that bothers me, I made many comments. One of them is like people are just going to start using the AI to write their songs that they'll take claim of, and it's not going to be their original work, which I don't like. And then I brought up the the idea of like someone like Prince, who, and of course Prince worked his ass off. He had talent that he leveraged with massive amounts of skill that he got from the hours and hours and hours of doing and practicing and everything. But the point is, you have a person like Prince who is like born out of like sheer luck to have a musically wired brain, and that guy's influence on musicians and the amount of songwriting he did, and he was so prolific, and it had a massive influence on.
But you don't think that'll still happen?
The thing that bothers me and I'm scared about is like, would all this artificial music suppress someone like Prince becoming Prince, or any famous awesome musician? That's the part of all of this that really freaks me out, is that like we might be developing software that turns us into the fat people on the movie WALL-E. You know what I mean? And I don't
Yeah.
like it. It's so good, and I'm like blown away by how good version 5 of Suno is, because I know version 3.5 very well. And again, it was only a couple of years, I think, since I used it. And we're seeing that progression, and I just feel like it has a little bit of that inevitability factor here. So I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I think it's something akin to like calculators, right? Like 100, 200 years ago, let's say, to do long division to 10 decimal places or something was like, the average person couldn't do that. The average person couldn't. You had to have like a familiarity with math or algebraic equations or stuff like that. Maybe that's even a little bit more too advanced. Maybe this isn't the best example because art is weird. Art and creativity, once you start commodifying it into like, oh, it's a mechanical process. On the one hand, people have been saying this since the piano. People have said, oh, like you've got this instrument which is always in tune, and it's like, it doesn't require the tone is produced as soon as you press the thing. So what kind of musicians are going to do? You know,
Frets
Pink
on a
Floyd,
guitar?
Frets on a guitar. When Pink Floyd was doing Dark Side of the Moon, they're like, isn't this all just really machines? And you're just kind of, you know, you're letting the arpeggiators do most of the work, and they had to be like, well, no, we're still controlling it. Or drum machines come along. It's like, oh, well, it's not a real drummer, it's a drum machine. So this has been the kind of call for a long time in terms of what's real
I
and
agree.
what's the end of music.
But does it track though? Because AI is
but
not.
there is a change. But this is, I think there is a sort of curve to it that once you can deliver an entire song from nothing that has every aspect of it sort of produced, I think what has stopped us from seeing princes, future princes, is happened before AI, and that's the commodification of the whole music industry, of just like where artists don't get to develop themselves, and the market is such that we will never have pop stars the way we had pop stars in our heyday, because it just the market's just not there to develop that anymore. You don't have people that will fund someone to do 3, 4, 5 records before they're gigantic or huge, and no one's buying records, which is also a thing. So the whole
But isn't it just being
financial model of
replaced
it.
by a different financial model? You develop a TikTok following, and the talent. It's a lot of crap, but some talent maybe rises to the top. And
but again, the constraints of TikTok tend to be the stuff that gets popular is flashy, fast, 30-second.
Feeds the algorithm, right?
Yeah, you know, so maybe that'll be what, you know, that the new pop star will be, the TikTok person that can play this guitar lick in 30 seconds. That's like, oh my God. And they get a couple million things, and then they get, you know.
Well, here's the question. Like, there will always be a demand, or not a question, statement, demand for human-made stuff. Do you think like social media companies or other companies will start, you know, tagging things like this is human-made, this
I
is
would
robot,
hope
to try to
so.
separate it, to try to be like...
I mean, this is happening with this actress now, this virtual actress. Did you see this thing? There's a virtual actress
that they signed to like...
that they signed to some kind of a deal, and like the actors union is just like, wait a minute, like what, like, you know, you're getting rid of extras, you're getting rid of all this sort of stuff, and we're trying to say that you can't replace actors with, you know, AI people, which is happening. So I would hope there would be a version of the watermark that says, hey, this is not human. I mean, my friend from the funk band, Andy, you know, I think I might have told you this. He entered a songwriting contest. He got 3rd place, and he was very excited. And then he got in touch and he said, oh, it turns out I'm actually in 2nd place because the 1st place winner was an AI generated song. That won for it was a panel that judged, like, you know, whatever, the 100 songs or 200 songs they got, and the number 1 song for this acoustic folk contest was AI. And the guy who submitted it was like, am I not allowed to? He didn't realize he wasn't allowed to do that. But it also shows how, like, musicians, we've kind of screwed ourselves, because a lot of the stuff that gets written is so
derivative.
Right.
That you know, that yes, an algorithm eventually could write a 3-chord folk song because the words are a certain derivative nature, the melodies
but not
are very
country,
derivative.
George, not country.
Come on now.
All right, but
Truck.
that was my point,
No, but-
George. And I said, like, what has happened before, like the best case scenario. We don't know what's going to happen, but there's a good best case and a worst case scenario. Best case scenario is like what has happened in the past, and that artists are forced to be better.
Yes.
Because they're forced to be so good, AI can't replicate
Yes.
what they're doing, which is the real creativity.
That's just a
It's-
matter of time, Steve.
Well,
that is a lazy comment.
It's not a
because-
lazy comment, and maybe it is a matter of time, but at least for now. Because like the one thing is that AI slop, if you will, is very derivative.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean it's not good. And it is true because most art is derivative.
Yeah.
And maybe that's, if you want to separate yourself out now, like this is real human creativity, it has to be something that AI cannot do because it is not derivative.
That just I don't even like what you're saying. Like,
Why?
have them come up with something that AI can't do. It's like, what are you talking about? Like today, like George said, the shit that's the most popular for the most part, and I just don't want people to freaking yell at me about this, right? But for the most part, it's really shit music. It's like super repetitive.
These kids today.
No, I mean, it's quantifiable, Steve. It's quantifiable.
There's a derivative nature to stuff, but there's always this out of left field thing that comes along, which always redefines
Yeah, I'm
You
not
know.
saying that that's not happening, but like when you compare it to like the thing that we have is, which is magical, is we can go back to decades. We can look at the 2010s, we can look at the 90s and the 80s and the 70s and 60s. And we could do that, and we could be like, look, like the styles dramatically changed from decade to decade. You know, the cream largely rose to the top because bands were out there getting a name for themselves enough where a promoter would come and listen to them, and then if they were good enough, they would be selected to maybe do a deal. Like, you know, there was a vetting process that seemed to work because there were so many awesome bands in each of those decades. Today, though, what we have is we have people who are all chasing to write the next same song. That's what I hear. Like K-pop Demon Hunters, strangely enough, has some of the best innovative music that I've heard that my kids are listening to.
I loved it.
Right?
I was shocked. I was shocked how good those songs were, and that's when I realized that like I'm never going to write a song like that because that's just outside of my experience.
But the anomaly is that those songs are not really like what all the other shit sounds like, in my opinion. Like those are like better in lots of ways.
But that's, I mean, that was true throughout all the decades. There was always people trying to write, you know, the next Elton John song or the next Beatles. I mean, how many Beatles copy bands were there?
Yeah.
I know,
there
but
was
George,
an
if you
entire
look
wave,
if you
and
look
it
at
wasn't
the
nearly
top,
as cool.
if you look at the top 10 songs, and you just dig into history, which I know you're aware of that, right? And you look at the top 10 songs that we've had in the last few years. Like the diversity that was happening back then is no longer happening.
Sure, because you get this weird homogenization and the stuff that gets paid for and that gets promoted.
Yeah.
So what I'm worried about is now broadening it to just in general with creativity. I'm worried that when humanity is no longer flexing the muscles that they use for creativity that we've had historically, that people are never going to develop those extreme skills and get to those higher levels. Like, you know, right?
We'll know in retrospect. It's one of those hard things.
I know, but I'm worried about it, and I'm talking about it.
I think this just will. I think what's happened, or what's going to happen, is it's going to redefine what, you know, pop music or music in general is. I think you will always have interesting people making interesting art.
Yeah.
Whether or not they get paid for it,
or whether or not the world is exposed to it, because
or
again,
whether
I
the world is
bet you,
exposed to it, sure. But now, what is cool about this is that you can have a very small and dedicated audience, and if you want to find interesting human-made music, you can. You go on Bandcamp. There is, I think it's like 1 billion things around there. I mean, like hundreds of millions of songs are on there. Most of which is pablum and whatever, but there is some incredibly fascinating stuff. And yeah, they might have 30 followers. They might have 10,000 followers or whatever it is.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't think we're not going to have the Rolling Stones anymore. We're not going to have Prince's
What
anymore.
about Taylor Swift?
You'll have that for a little bit longer, but not that much longer.
And
I
let's
don't
face
think
it, guys.
you're
She
gonna
doesn't
have
write
it.
most of her music anyway.
No, she does.
No,
she writes a lot
she
of it.
doesn't.
Yes,
She
she
does
does.
not. No, she doesn't.
Wait,
Yes, she does.
I
No,
don't think that's true.
I just read an article about this. Like, and they listed the people who wrote like her most famous songs and stuff. Like, she might be.
Well, you have
No,
to
she
be.
is part
You
of
have to
it.
be aware between writing and then like getting a co-writing credit as a
Yeah.
producer.
She might be a
for-
co-writer, but I mean, she's not the primary writer on a lot of the hits that she has.
I think she is.
Read it, George.
You read
Okay,
it
I'll
where,
check
in
in,
a
but-
book?
but-
No.
Yeah,
What?
I'll check into that. But I know.
Let's check it.
Yeah, we'll
she's
check
an
it.
anomaly
Fact check
because
us,
she. I think she's the real deal.
I think she's amazing, by the way.
Yeah.
And as
Yeah.
as an artist, whether her artistry largely comes from her writing or largely comes from her as a recording artist or as a performing artist, she's awesome. She really is, and I don't want to take
Yeah.
a stitch away from her.
No,
but
no
like,
question.
But like, this is not a new phenomenon. A lot of awesome songs sang by awesome people that we all know about were not written by those people.
Oh, sure. I
You know,
mean,
there's nothing wrong with
Elvis
that.
didn't write a song.
Yeah.
You know, the person that by many is seen as the king of rock and roll did not write a single song.
That's fair.
Yeah.
You know,
Everybody just look
whereas-
it up because I did read something recently.
Okay, maybe
We'll look it up. We'll look it up.
It
I had
wasn't
always
just someone
presumed
saying
that-
it. They
Yeah,
named names. This guy wrote this song. He also happened to write this song for this other artist.
Okay.
And I was like, whoa, really? I thought Taylor Swift wrote all this shit.
But I mean, that
yeah.
could be like 2 out of 10 songs on a record. Or
They
something.
named a lot
Who
of-
knows?
Well, let me put this out. Do you think that AI music will take over pop charts to pretty much all of the pop charts? Let's just say, and that will shift other musicians just to making more avant-garde stuff, their own like unique creative
Possibly,
stuff.
yeah.
That it's
Possibly.
like
I
we
mean,
just recognize pop as AI.
In Japan, in Asian countries, you already have these AI bands that are very popular.
Yeah.
They have concerts. They do these shows with holograms.
Yeah, was it Hakune Miku?
Yeah, there's entire bands that don't exist that are very popular, and I don't know what the avant-garde music scene is like in Tokyo.
Yeah.
It might be amazing. Some underground thing of just like, well, okay, we're not going to write that stuff because that stuff's being written by machines, but even that, I think eventually I think like the next generation will be like, oh, we're not interested in that.
Yeah.
Because you're never interested in the thing that your parents were interested in
Oh, is
on
it
some
gonna
level.
take that long?
It might, but the way it could be 5 years, it could be 10, it could be whatever. Who knows? And maybe there'll be this renaissance. Maybe there'll be this like, no, we want to see a person with a guitar on a street corner. That is what's real.
I want to hear
hopefully.
melodies again.
Sure.
I want to hear like musicians
It's hard.
do unexpected things that
Yeah.
add emotional gravitas. To a song.
That's the thing is that, songwriting, like many things, it can be very simple, but it can also be like the hardest thing in the world to do, like to write good lyrics and to write a good melody that's singable, that's accessible, it doesn't sound like a million other things, that also has some interest to it, is like it's really hard. So when you see all these singer-songwriters that all sound the fucking same, it's because there is an allowance. There's this like temperament of like, you play these 3 chords and you kind of sing these kind of melodies and you do these kind of lyrics and it works. It's not terrible. It works. But is it great? Is it Springsteen,
Mind-blowing?
Nebraska? Is it like, no, it's often not. So it's a weird thing of like there's and that's why these computers and the algorithms can write these things, because they understand, oh, this is all that's happening. This is what's happening. It's these kinds of 5 versions of chord progressions usually lead to this kind of a melody, which usually has this kind of a theme, which uses these words, and yeah.
People are far more predictable than we like to think.
Of course, absolutely.
Absolutely.
But
we
take your thing, that 5.0 thing, and ask it to write a Frank Zappa song. And it's not going to sound like a Frank Zappa
I
song,
totally
because Frank
agree,
Zappa
George.
stuff is really difficult.
Oh, of course, like
or
King Crimson,
Stravinsky,
and like we can name a million artists. I'm not saying that,
Write Beethoven's.
but
10th
what I'm
symphony.
saying is it might
You would
just
sooner
be a
do that,
matter-
I think, than some of the out more Stravinsky stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like it's just a matter of time.
Probably on some level, but yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not good. And I don't, I hear these things. I listen to those funk covers and the funk sort of thing, and it's frightening to me.
Yeah.
Plus the resources that are used to create those things.
Yeah.
That's what's like the worst. Like when I see someone casually use an AI image in some little thing, it's just like, do you know the resources that you just used to make that thing? It's like,
I got upset recently because I go over and I work at my mom's house 2 days a week, just because just to give her company, right?
yeah.
And she was doing an AI generated jigsaw puzzle, and I got pissed because it was so obviously AI,
Yeah.
and I'm like, really? Of course, companies are going to go out and make 100 images and sell them as jigsaw puzzles because it's cheap and it's fast, And right now you can see it. In the future, you're not going to be able to see it. But I don't like the fact that a human mind didn't craft those images. It just bothers me.
Yeah.
But
over
again,
it.
the flip is I use AI every day. And it helps me
Yeah.
a lot and does a lot of aggravating things for me that I don't have to do anymore. And it just, it's a powerful
Yeah, there's
tool.
no scrolling through porn anymore. It just gets the instant scenario you want. It's
Why
like
would you
right
even?
there.
Perfect thing.
None of that. Like no.
I just tell it the night
no.
before. Just
Yeah.
give me
Yeah.
100 links to exactly what I want. No, but the point is,
What's the point?
And somebody said it here. Like somebody asked Jay, "You worried that we're going to lose our humanity? Lose parts of our humanity through all this?" And it's like, well, it seems like it.
Gone.
Yeah, it seems like
It's
it.
already gone.
It's ruined a lot of science fiction in a way, because if you watch anything, like I'm rewatching the Next Gen, it's like that's not what the future's going to be like. It's already obsolete. You've already missed what's already happened.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Data's brain, right? Isn't
it's
Data's brain?
It's way too slow. Like we've already.
It's way too slow, right?
It's
Yeah,
way
it's
too
like even like this is faster than Data's brain already.
Yeah.
Like,
The numbers, they always sound
the numbers.
impressive. I remember like watching a movie in like the 1990,
Yeah.
21.
the Hackers or something, whatever.
Oh,
and it
yes.
was about hackers. It was like with a very young
love Hackers.
Angelina Jolie, and they're like bragging about this computer. And like by the time it came out, it's like, come on, that's chumpy,
Yeah.
But that aside, it's just like their world is so not dominated by AI the way it would be.
right.
Yeah.
400 years from now.
I was able to, but using 11 Labs to very closely. I mean, you and George, you and Steve in particular, it copies your voices and inflection really
It freaked me out
well.
when you played me that.
Really
I was
well.
disturbed by it, to be honest. It kind of just disturbed me because
And-
it's like
And I did something else just out of curiosity, see how far I could take it. And I wrote a paragraph of a conversation between the SGU as if it were a podcast. It's longer, probably a page. And I put it in different characters, and I played it, and it's like we are totally replaceable.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Totally.
you can take a report, let's say, or some article or something, and you can say, can you turn this into a 5-minute podcast with 2 hosts, a female and a male?
Yeah.
It will do that.
A male with a French accent, and the female is 20 to 25 years old, and you'll get the synopsis of the book or the article or whatever, and it's like, okay,
Yep. Yeah. So you tell me, people. This guy with his like super optimism over here.
Well, it seems like you still need experts to like tell us what is
Of course we
fake
do.
and
well,
real,
it's funny
right?
because
Like,
I'm literally recording my episode for this week right now, like as you interrupted,
sorry.
and I'm talking about we sort of have lived in this, have been lucky enough or whatever it is, interestingly enough, to have lived within this 150-year window of evidence. So before recorded audio, before film, before stuff, it was basically like if you wrote something down, maybe there was word of mouth as to whether or not something happened. Then film comes along, you could take a picture of it, you could record it, you could take a videotape of it, you could do whatever. And that kind of existed up until just about now, where AI now will create
Now we're in a
images that are
post-evidence fake world.
we're going to be in the post evidence that you could see the med beds, and I'm sure you guys
Yeah.
are talking about.
Yeah.
You can see the president talking about it, and it doesn't fucking matter because evidence doesn't mean what it meant. So maybe like we just happened to we existed in this brief pocket of human time, which already is a brief pocket, where evidence was a thing,
Yeah.
and proof was a thing, and it will no longer be a thing, which is kind of frightening.
Yeah.
Because the consequences are
Yep.
huge.
I
But the
agree,
technology
George.
it runs on still requires evidence, right? Like it still requires science.
absolutely.
So
Yeah,
like
yeah.
somebody's doing a science.
Right.
It's just
But
maybe
like in
it's
terms of day
controlled,
to
I don't
day, oh, I saw that or I heard that.
know. Yeah.
will
Thank
not
you, I am
mean-
Cobbles. I appreciate that. George, I want to tell you something.
Uh-oh.
I like the cut of your jib, my friend. I do. I really,
You can't show your jib on screen.
I like that you're
Oh,
calm.
there's the jib.
I like that you are very, very well thought out in your responses. And
Well, it's due to the encephalopathy.
Oh,
of the,
right.
it's all the soccer headers I took when I was a
I
kid.
mostly like that you agreed with me and not Steve, though.
Is that what it is? Basically, yeah. That's your friendships are based on.
Agreement.
Is that how you're reimagining that conversation went, Jay? All right.
I have an AI version of it in my head.
That's right. He's got the perfect version of his brain. Yeah. Actually, I've been AI the whole time.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait. Oh,
Hey,
all right.
it's a pleasure to work with you two guys, and you too, Ian.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
It's all
The
good.
best.
We better the best. All right.
And we're all done
Ian
here.
is just an AI
Yeah,
generated
beep
beep,
voice.
boop.
voice.
Yeah, I
That's
got
why you
A
never
and
see
I
him.
in my name. Look at that.
That's
right.
It's just a little backwards. All right, George, thank you so much
Thank
for
you, George.
joining us. Sorry for
Thanks,
taking
guys.
you away.
Until
from the
next time.
podcast.
Until next time, my
Until
friend.
next time, we're going
And
to jump into some
how great was Kansas, by the way? Can we just say it one more
fun,
time?
man.
Yes.
It was a lot of fun.
Round of applause.
For the people there, I mean, I couldn't. They were so
Yeah.
welcoming and appreciative and friendly, and the candy shop was awesome, and the plant shop was awesome.
I got a lot of candy.
And yeah,
I think 'cause it was in person, it was people interfacing with other people.
Yeah, I love that.
I think we're hungry for analog connection.
Yes.
Completely.
Oh, yeah.
Bring back
Oh,
the
my God.
analog.
yeah, that's the thing. It's like that.
Yeah.
Those experiences. I mean, you can't have an extravaganza, an AI.
Mm-hmm.
You could, but it's not the same.
No.
What do you
I
say
don't know if
that?
it
It's
would
not
be.
the same.
It'd be
It's
hard.
not the
Yeah,
same.
AI
So-
doesn't shake your hand and take pictures
Yeah.
with you.
How much does it pay, though, the AI extravaganza? Because I'm...
I mean,
okay, all right, anyway.
Is there more profit in it?
Is there yeah, money?
Is that net?
money?
all right, we'll talk about that.
All right, no. I'm just kidding. All right.
Bye, George.
Thank you so much for
All right,
joining
boys.
us.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Have a good show.
Bye. Hanging up now.
Bye, everybody.
And I'm going to go.
Yes, because we got to get to those TikToks.
And I'm
'cause
going
I
to do
gotta
some
go.
TikToks.
All right.
Yes. All right. let's
What,
go
what,
to
what am I going to
TikToks.
say right now, Steve?
Say the
Be
thing.
excellent to each other.
Be
Ah,
excellent
you
to
gotta do
each
that.
other. Just do one nice thing for someone. It's so easy, and it makes people. When people do it to me, it makes my day.
Mm-hmm.
It could be anything.
Could be
It could be an older brother looking at his younger brother and saying, "I love you for who you are, man." You know, it's simple things like that.
Yeah.
And
It
here's
could be
20
a tech
bucks.
guy
As an example.
that
Here's
most
20
people
bucks.
never see.
Uh-huh.
That looks at the producer that he works with and says, "Hey,
okay.
I appreciate you and the hard work that
Well,
you
you
do."
better fill out a chat GPT prompt if you want that.
Bye, guys.
All right. Just kidding.
All right, brother. Talk to you later.
All right. We love Jay. Bye-bye, Jay. All right. Oh, yeah. This was the actress. I just bring it up. She's an AI actress.
She's an AI actress.
AI. All right. Let's get into these TikToks. So we have a couple TikToks, everybody, for you to enjoy and love. Or hate, I guess, is the other thing.
Now, forget everything I just said.
Yeah, forget all that nonsense.
The world is going to hell in a handbasket.
We're moving forward.
It's preferred mode of transportation.
Yes,
The
that is the
handbasket.
best. The handbasket is pretty underrated. All right, let me shut off this music. It'll slowly fade out. All right, you want to do the Mayan calendar thing?
Yeah, let's do that one.
Okay, let's do that. Here we go. Whoops. TikTok picture-in-picture. Oh, no. I switched stuff. Stand by, everybody. Doop. This one. Pro capture. There we go. There we go. Oh, you know what? Can you move that mic off?
This one?
Actually, you know what? I can crop it out. Actually, yeah. No, you move it off because that way it doesn't show up. There we go. All right, hold on. Let me just make sure this one looks good. That one looks okay, I guess.
Still seeing in my video a little bit of the screen,
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, of the
the web or whatever. There's another window open.
Is that one? Is that this one? No. This one?
See what I'm talking about? There we go. You got it.
Go. Got it. Yeah, it's like too many things open. All right, so bada bing. There we go. TikTok, you look good. Yes. All right. Here we go.
That our sun is operating at the exact same mathematics as the ancient Mayas used. And this changes everything we know about our reality. Solar cycle 25 hit maximum activity in August of 2024, exactly 1,597 days after it started. That's not random, that's Fibonacci number F17. The sun is literally counting in Fibonacci sequence. It gets crazy. The strongest sunspot month has 216 sunspots. When I applied golden ratio mathematics, that it equals 5 times Fibonacci 12, which is 233. Perfect mathematical harmony.
All right, that's enough. This is typical numerology, right? Looking at numbers, playing around with them, finding some coincidental alignment, and declaring that this is whatever, the fabric of the universe. So I tried to validate any of what he was saying, and it just, you can't do it. The solar cycle 25, so he says it has exactly the 1,500 and whatever days. That is a Fibonacci number. I could not validate those days, however. That's not any source that I found. First of all, said it went from December 2019, not really a specific day in there, to August 2020, to October 2024, not August. And even if you go to August, it's the numbers don't line up. So I think he's retrofitting this, right? You sort of pick the days that give you the Fibonacci number, and then you say, well, that was the beginning and the end of solar cycle 25. But that's not objectively true. He is just forcing a fit. He's forcing a match by giving himself a lot of wiggle room. People underestimate how much you could accomplish by giving yourself a little bit of wiggle room. And then you think, oh, this can't be a coincidence. It's amazing. What are the odds? The odds are pretty much 100% with the wiggle room that you're allowing yourself, including looking for like any possible match. It's like, then you take 5 times this number gives you another Fibonacci number. It's like, well, first of all, there's a lot of Fibonacci numbers, right? There's an infinite number of them. And if you're giving yourself so sometimes it matches the number, sometimes you have to multiply it times some other number to get the Fibonacci. It's all nonsense. Of course, the underlying claim is that we're living in some kind of simulation, or that like the universe is somehow intelligent, or is constructed, or designed, or has this mathematical underpinning. But there's no truth to that. It's just all him fudging the numbers to make them appear to work. It's classical numerology nonsense.
Okay, very good. We'll call it that, and then call it this one. Boop, boop. Okay, cool. So let's move on to this one. The cholesterol one you want to do?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, here we go. Don't start this.
I'm getting sick of this guy.
Yeah, I know.
This fucking
This
guy.
fucking
The longest living humans had high
Yeah.
cholesterol levels.
That's right. That's what the Sweden study found, for example. The paper just published a year or so ago. What were some of the most consistent themes? They had good glucose control and high cholesterol. I'm a great defender of cholesterol.
That's just not true. He is completely misrepresenting the science. Let's back up a little bit. So cholesterol clearly is associated with higher risk of heart disease and all-cause mortality, right? High cholesterol is not good for you. And that's true whether it's genetic or lifestyle. It's about 50-50. Like some of it is genetic, some of it is your lifestyle, how much you exercise, what you eat, etc. It's especially true during your middle ages, like from 40 to 60. As you get older, the correlation between high cholesterol and heart disease tends to go down. And for the oldest people, it's hard to see. But there's plenty of reasons for that have nothing to do with cholesterol not being a risk factor for heart disease. There's also a ton of evidence that treating high cholesterol, using lifestyle interventions or medication to lower your cholesterol, reduces your risk of all-cause mortality, of dying, and reduces your risk of cardiovascular disease. Obviously, these decisions have to be individualized, applying all this evidence to an individual patient, but the evidence there is pretty overwhelming, and it's been building for decades. We've had a lot of opportunities to investigate different angles of this question. So that's the current summary, broad brushstroke of the relationship between total cholesterol and heart disease and mortality. Now, he's talking about a Swedish study from 2023. And this was looking at centenarians, right? This is looking at people who live to be 100 or older. And they were comparing that to people who were long-lived, lived into their 90s, but didn't make 100. So they're looking at the most extreme longevity and trying to see if there are any biomarkers that correlate with the most extreme longevity. And yes, one of the things they found was that total cholesterol was a little bit higher in the 100 and over group versus the less than 100 group. That's not the same as them having high cholesterol. They had higher cholesterol than the other group. right? So he's trying to imply that like high cholesterol is good for you, high cholesterol is not a problem. That is not what this data showed. Also, this is an observational study. This is just a correlation. It does not mean that having a relatively higher cholesterol is what caused them to live longer. Again, he's implying that or outright saying it, inferring that from the data, and you cannot. In fact, the authors were quite clear that it's overwhelmingly probable here, and they had other data to support this, that the genetic factors that make it more likely for you to live to be 100 correlate also with having this slightly higher cholesterol than in the other comparison group. Like, for example, again, observational studies are rife with confounding factors, especially longevity studies, because so many things can not only impact survival, but there's also survival bias, right? So if you're looking at people who are 100 years old, by definition, you've weeded out everybody who did not live to 100. So if you're somebody who is susceptible to the negative effects of high cholesterol, you're probably already dead, and you're not represented in the 95 to 105 group, like the people, or like the 85 to 100 group, but they're the people that they're looking at. So these correlations, these risk factor correlations, change as we age, as people die off and the population changes. Does that make sense, right? So you can't look at people who are 90, 95 and say, oh, having slightly higher cholesterol wasn't a negative thing for them, and say, therefore, at 40, you don't have to worry about having a really high, genetically high or whatever, total cholesterol or a high LDL compared to your HDL. You cannot say that. That makes absolutely no sense. And so this summary that this guy's doing is cherry picking this one study, completely misrepresenting it, ignoring the mountains of other evidence to try to create this cholesterol is life, it's good for you, don't like lower your cholesterol, is total BS. Do not believe it. He's just a guru promoting snake oil and his own brand. He is not giving any kind of reasonable accounting of the actual evidence.
Very good. Cholesterol. Boom.
What's number 3? What was it? What were the other two?
There was, let's see, what the hell? How food companies create disease, and then there's the tank with the plane.
Let's do the plain one, and we'll do the other one for next week.
Yeah, sounds good. I have some pictures too I could show.
Oh, great.
Like this one. Nope. This one. Like, I don't know if that's
yeah, that's
good
fine.
enough.
Yeah.
And then here's the video.
But you got to put it next to each other, though. Because that looks bigger than it is.
Oh, you know what? I don't have the tank. Crap. I just have like the placement of the tank.
But you could do that in post, right?
Yeah, I could do that in post. I could find a tank.
You could see, like, if you look at the car behind it, you realize that's a small tank.
Right.
It's not that big.
Right. All right. We'll just talk to it, and then I'll just throw up some pictures when you talk about it.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Okay, hold on.
Are we being lied to about how commercial airlines actually operate, specifically their engines? And could this be a way to charge us more for fuel that they're not actually burning? And does this have to do with Victor Schauberger? Wait until you see this. So here's a 60,000 gallon water tank, national storage tank. Here's a 747, holds 63,500 gallons of fuel. This guy says you can't convince him there's that much fuel sloshing around in the wings. But then how possibly could these jet engines be functioning? Cue Victor Schauberger. He was an Austrian scientist and forester and an inventor. All of his works were seized, by the way, by a certain agency, and then a few days later he passed away. True story, look it up, fact check that one.
All right, so the implication here is that everything they tell you is a lie. They are lying to you about everything, including how planes work. And so let's cherry pick some guy from whatever last century who said something else, and maybe he was correct. Listen, there were cranks throughout the last couple hundred years saying pretty much everything. If you want to search for somebody who proposed some kind of science or technology or whatever that you could weave into a conspiracy theory, you can find it. But he's completely misrepresenting what is going on. First of all, you have to look at, say, for example, a 747 in context, to scale, next to that tank, and it makes perfect sense that you could fit 60,000 gallons of fuel in a plane. First of all, the fuel's not just in the wings. It is in the wings. It's just not only in the wings. That's just free space for them to use to store fuel. So why not? It makes sense. You don't have to have as big or as many fuel tanks in the fuselage. But there's also fuel in the fuselage. There's often fuel in the tail wings, whatever. They design the plane. They figure out where the fuel is going to go. They make sure there's enough space for it. They're trying to maximize space for other things. So a lot of it in modern jets goes in the wings. But if you look at them to scale, it makes perfect sense. There's no mystery here. They absolutely can fit 60,000 gallons of fuel in those large jets, or however much that they need. It's not a problem. And then he tries to gets the numbers wrong, where he tries to argue that it's too heavy. No, you could do the math. If you weigh up everything and the lift of those wings, the wings are as huge as they are to make sure there's enough lift that it could lift the aircraft. Otherwise, they wouldn't fly, right? And again, the fuel isn't the only or even the biggest source of weight there. So no problems. And then he tries to replace it with it's all compressed air. You read the comments, a lot of people are pushing this compressed air thing. That's basically a perpetual motion machine claim, right? That you could fly a jet with very little fuel just to get it off the ground. And once you're going at speed, you compress the air, which drives the engines, which pushes the plane, which compresses the air. Perpetual motion loop doesn't exist, folks. It doesn't exist. There's no perpetual motion machine. That violates the second law of thermodynamics. It is a law that you cannot violate. Every single time someone claims they're violating the second law of thermodynamics, that they found a way around it, that they have an over unity machine or whatever, they're generating more energy than they're putting in, they're wrong. They're either lying to you or they are cranks who don't know what they're talking about. They made some mistake somewhere and they think that they're smarter than the rest of the world or whatever. They're the ones who have finally figured out the free energy thing. It's every single time it is wrong, 100% of the time. So just don't believe it. It's a good bet. As I often say, I'll always bet on the laws of physics. It hasn't failed me yet. It's always a safe bet that if someone is saying that they've broken the laws of thermodynamics, they are wrong. So in this case, no, we don't need to invent physics-breaking pseudoscience to explain a non-mystery, ginned up by somebody who can't do basic math.
All righty, chat. Thanks for joining us.
All right, that was fun. Thank you, Ian. So we fixed democracy, we fixed AI and the music industry.
Oh, good goody.
And now we're on our way to destroying the wellness industry. All right, good day's work.
We're out there. All right, chat. Well, see you next Wednesday. I guess that's what it is. And listen to the...
See you next Wednesday.
Jane Goodall passed away? Oh, no.
Oh,
yeah, she was...
probably end up talking about that on the show this week.
Okay,
that's
we'll
too bad.
put that. That's, yeah. So listen to this show this weekend. Maybe we'll talk about that. She's a pretty well-known activist scientist. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We will see you around.
Bye. Thanks,
bye.
Ian.
Here go the music and the fade.
All right.